Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student-athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332.
We welcome you back to the Capitol Center as we continue here with the Rusty Bucket pregame show. It's now time to set the table. Brought to you by Pepsi, at least for Capitol. And the latest development, Jimmy, for Capitol has been a small tweak, I guess you could say, of the lineup. Simone Gage is going to be coming off of the bench today. In her place, Colleen Fondesi. So an extra big out there on the floor for the Crusaders.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that with Gage is out more of kind of an injury than any kind of strategy for that point. So if you're thinking they're going to have her come off the bench for a spark or anything like that, that's not the reasoning behind the move. And I'm sure we'll see Gage back in there when she's fully healthy again. But yeah, starting Fondesi, I think it's really interesting that they're not giving Watchman the start, as Watchman would be the normal backup point guard. Instead, it looks like Napolitano will probably be handling the duties with who's starting. Irwin will start at the 2, then Sigmund the 3, and you have some more size with Thompson and Fondesi out there. So you should see a little bit of a bump rebounding-wise, but it's going to be really interesting to see how that matchup goes. Gage also usually guards the point guard as well, and Napolitano can kind of be more of a rover. She is assigned someone, obviously, but she likes to come on double teams and get a lot of steals that way, and she'll likely be guarding the point guard now herself, and she won't be able to do that. So there's a couple of different dynamics that change with Gage not being in there, and they're going a little bit bigger, so we'll see how that works out in the early couple of minutes, and we'll see how the rotation changes as well throughout the game. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of Pla earlier in the game, as we've seen Fondesi be the first big off the bench. Maybe that is now Pla's role.
Jimmy, as you know, protecting home court, very important in basketball. So far, Capital's been able to do that with the few games that they've played so far this year. A home win against Wittenberg. They defeated Wilmington to open 1-0 in OAC play. They went up against some really tough competition. First, a 74-63 loss at Mount Union. Following that up with a 58-46 loss at Ohio Northern. It was good that Capital, once again on the road, was able to take out Otterbein. They defeat the Cardinals 70-61 last Saturday. But I'm starting to notice a pattern with this team. Anytime Capital is able to get an edge on the boards and come away with points off of turnovers when in regards to their opponents, that usually provides a recipe for success.
Yeah, they really did not give themselves a chance in the Ohio Northern game. They were down by 20 early in the first half, of that game. They had a little bit of a run. I think they outscored Ohio Northern by quite a bit in the second half, but they were down so much at halftime they just couldn't come back and shot the ball dreadfully. They were under 25% early in that game. And not very early, late first half, they were shooting under 25% from the field. Irwin had 14 points to lead the way, but she even shot under 30% herself, so there just wasn't a lot of efficiency from the offense, and that's something that's going to have to improve, obviously. But like you said, this team does thrive when they're rebounding the basketball. That means they're getting stops defensively. And, again, the points off turnovers is always huge. They're always looking for their chances to get transition points. They're not looking to run, so to say, but they're looking to create turnovers that lead to easy buckets the other way. They'll run off of turnovers, but they're definitely going to be a team that slows the pace down in their half-court sets if the other team's scoring. If they're not scoring, obviously they're going to have more rebounds as well. That's kind of what it is. They've been playing really good defense, It hasn't really showed with the points they're giving up off of their own turnovers, but they are playing really good defense in the half court, and if they are able to control the basketball today and force some steals, they should have a really good chance of winning today.
In just a minute, we will also set the table for John Carroll. What problems do the Blue Streaks present? We'll talk about that as we continue to roll along here on the Rusty Bucket pregame show.
I wanted to fly. They said I couldn't. So I built a plane, then a spaceship, then I went to the moon. I invented jazz, hip-hop, rock and roll. Some called it noise. I said it was music. I wrote a letter and sent it by ponies. It didn't get to you fast enough, so I used trucks and ships. But still, they weren't fast enough for me. So I lost the paper and the ink. I sent it by magic. I called it email. I made up new words: jukebox, bling, Google. And I decided some old words weren't okay to say ever again. The mustache. I tried to bring that back 17 times. I wore knickerbockers and shoulder pads, poodle skirts and flannel. When I came back from World War II, all I had was a t-shirt. So I made that cool. In fact, I invented cool. Who am I? I'm the spirit of youth. It's my job to move the world forward. Pepsi. Every generation refreshes the world.
Welcome back to the Rusty Bucket pregame show. Let's now set the table for John Carroll. This brought to you by Capital Dining Services. So, Jimmy, a staple of John Carroll, and really you can say this for both the women's team and the men's team, both of their squads like to really get up and down the court.
Yeah, they really do, and this team is one of the best at scoring in the OAC on the women's side. In fact, their games last year, if you look at Capital's schedule, these games got into the 80s and 70s, and Capital never plays that style of basketball. They like to stay in the low 60s if they can. And even last year, they had a win against John Carroll where they dropped 83. I think it was 83-74 the last time they met here at the Cap Center in the regular season last year. So Capital is capable of playing that pace, but obviously they're not wanting to, and John Carroll's going to try to get this game up into the 80s and see what happens from there.
Let's take a closer look here at John Carroll. And Jimmy, this is interesting. We'll talk a little more about this during the starting lineups when they're introducing this game. But apparently, John Carroll is going with a completely different starting five. In fact, they're going with three young ladies that I didn't think played a heck of a lot, but they're going to be thrust into their starting lineup. What does Kelly Marone have up her sleeve?
Yeah, this is a little confusing to figure out, and like you said off the air, maybe they're trying a little bit of a different look just to get something going for them. They had a little bit of a losing streak to start conference play, losing to Heidelberg and Ohio Northern, also lost to Marietta their last time out. Looks like Adelman is one of the starters that, she's only played 8 minutes a game. This is going to be her second start. Just one of the girls out there. McManaman's going to be making her first start of the season, and then Shelby Graham is going to be making her 7th in 10 games. So she has tweaked with the lineup, but I think she's just trying to find that right lineup for this group. Camille Adelman, a 5'8", freshman guard forward, can kind of stretch the floor for them. Maybe she's had some good practices. She is a freshman, and maybe they're liking what she's done in practice and feel more comfortable with her being out there, maybe present some sort of matchup problem. This team struggles against Capital historically, especially recently, and they've over the series of this matchup, they've won just 3 times in this building in 32 tries. So obviously Dixie's got a pretty good grip of this team. She does like playing against John Carroll. She says it's always a competitive game. She was talking to our sports information director about that, and you can see her chatting with the head coach from John Carroll right now and talking about whatever it is, and I think it'll be really interesting. I think this might just be kind of trying to throw Dixie off a little bit and throwing some players out there that she might not have as heavily scouted as some of the starters, and maybe also send a message to some of those John Carroll normal starters that you guys are not getting the job done. This is what we need to do to get to that next level. Obviously, they find themselves at 1-3 in conference play, way down the standings, and that's not where this team should be. So maybe this is a bit of a wake-up call as well. So change coming to the John Carroll lineup, but the one constant will be Caitlin Spahar, junior from Willowick, Ohio, stands at 5'9", wears number 24 on the back of the jersey for the Blue Streaks. Jimmy,
this young lady is one of the best scorers in the OAC.
This girl is phenomenal. She's not just one of the best scorers, Charlie. She fills the stat sheet in every category. She's second in points per game in the conference, 8th in assists, 10th in rebound, tied for first in steals, and 7th in blocks as a guard. She is going to be on the stat sheet all over the place. She's a really great player to watch. I remember watching their game against Baldwin Wallace on the Time Warner Sports Channel last year. I was flipping channels and actually just came across it. She played phenomenal in that game against a really tough Baldwin Wallace defense. And she's been doing it for years now, and this is her junior year, so she still has one more year with this team, and she's playing this well as a junior. It's really going to be between her and Annie Bova, I think, for player of the conference. They're just kind of separating themselves from everyone else in this conference, and Spahar is really going to carry this team, and stopping her, it has to be the biggest key today. Make someone else beat you, especially with that starting lineup they threw out there today. Make some of these younger players that are getting some of their first experience beat you. Don't let Spahar be the one to do it, but that's easier said than done. You can obviously say, oh, we're going to stop LeBron James and make someone else beat us, but you can't just do that. Spahar, I'm not calling her LeBron James, but of this team, she's the beast that's going to be doing everything, rebounding, blocks, steals. She does it all defensively and offensively, and you're in for a real treat today. She's probably a top 3 player in the conference.
Coming up, we'll have the keys to victory as we inch closer and closer to tip-off between Capital and John Carroll. This is women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
Just as fresh as its pizza, Donato's is fresh off of its 50th anniversary and still serving the Columbus area with pride. Now introducing online ordering, Donato's Pizza is ready for your order at any time from anywhere. Donato's also features a gluten-free menu and will even cater your next big event. Donato's Pizza in Bexley is located at 2800 East Main Street and is available by phone at 614-235-4477. Donato's Pizza, proud supporter of Capital Crusader Athletics.
This is a message for all those MBA seekers out there. For the junior exec who'd rather be senior. For the VP yearning to be CEO. And for everyone who'd call their job not just a profession, but a passion. Capital University's MBA program was built exclusively for professionals, experienced faculty, flexible schedules, and classmates you'll soon consider colleagues. Learn more at capital.edu/MBA. The Capital University MBA, for those driven to do more.
Welcome back to the Rusty Bucket pregame show. We're moments away from tip-off between John Carroll and Capital women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network this afternoon. It is now time for today's Keys to the Game, brought to you by the J Company. So, Jimmy, what will it take for Capital to get a win here today against John Carroll?
Well, this is a really interesting kind of breakdown. Well, first, obviously, we just said the first key is stopping Spahar. Obviously, you're not going to stop her. You got to just try to limit the damage that she's going to do. Averaging 17 points per game, as well as 6 rebounds, leads the team in assists. Make her get some more assists. Let her work on those assist numbers today and make someone else beat you, I think, and try to limit her production from the field. Maybe only allow her somewhere in that 10 to 12 point range. You'd probably feel good about that and walk away with a win. She dropped 20 against them last time they met in this building, so obviously she has the ability to do that, and I believe it was off the bench last year that she did that, but she might have been starting towards the end of the year for John Carroll. Looking at the steals for both these teams have a lot of players that are able to steal the basketball. Spahar, we talked about, 3.1 steals per game. She's first in the conference. Shmoo Pryor, who is not starting today, usually a starter for them. I believe she's not starting. Is that correct, Charlie?
She is not starting.
Yeah, she was one that is not starting. She has started 8 of their 9 games this season, so we'll see a lot of her. She's third in the conference with 2.7 steals. And Battaglia, another player who usually starts for them but will not be starting again, she's got 10th in the conference in steals. So they have 3 in the top 10. Capital, on the other side, also has 3 in the top 10. Simone Gage is tied for 3rd with Shmoo Pryor. Napolitano is 7th in the conference in steals per game, and Irwin is 9th. So what that tells me is both teams, again, looking for those opportunities to get those steals and run. So it'll be really interesting to see what team wins that kind of turnover battle. John Carroll comes in averaging 17 turnovers per game, but they forced 22 turnovers per game, an insane number that Capital is going to have to limit. Capital turns it over 17 times per game, which is about the same as John Carroll, and they only take it away 20 times per game. So similar numbers there. I think the turnover battle, especially the points off of the turnovers, are going to be really big in this game. And the third, the free throw line could be a real story in this game, Charlie. Capital shoots 73%, which is really good for a Division III team, honestly, from the women's side especially. And if you take Kristen Thompson out of the mix, she's shooting 58% and has the bulk of the team's free throws. But you look at the other starters and other main players for this team, Irwin shoots 80%, Napolitano 78%, Sigmund 90%, Watchman 87%, Fondesi 90%, Gage 79%. So the players that you want to get to the free throw line, they're shooting in the high 80s, or low 80s, I should say, almost. Whereas Thompson's kind of leading that team down on the free throw percentage, but still a very good free throw percentage as a team. You look at the John Carroll side of things; they shoot just 61% from the free throw line, not a good number at all. And if this game comes down to a free throw battle, the scale would definitely tip into Capital's favor.
Well, we are just about set for the national anthem here at the Capitol Center. So what we're going to go ahead and do is send it down to the public address announcer, Neil Shapiro. A lovely rendition of our national anthem, and we're just about set for basketball here at the Capitol Center. It's now time for today's starting lineups, brought to you by Dill's Greenhouse. Let's start with the visiting John Carroll Blue Streaks. And some lineup changes for John Carroll today. First off, the 6-foot freshman forward from Solon, Ohio, number 3, Shelby Graham. Also a guard will be the 5'11" sophomore from Worcester, Ohio, number 11, Sarah Carney. Also a guard will be the 5'6" freshman from Erie, Pennsylvania, number 15, Maddie Steiner. Also a guard, the 5'9" junior from North Royalton, Ohio, number 22, Katie Battaglia. Actually, my mistake. Nicole McManaman will be in there, the 5'7" sophomore from Westlake, Ohio, number 30. And rounding out the starting 5 for John Carroll will be the 5'8" freshman from Mogadore, Ohio, number 34, Camille Edelman. The head coach of John Carroll is Kelly Marone. She's in her 3rd year as head coach of John Carroll. Meanwhile, for Capital, they made a lineup change as well. Normally, Simone Gage will be in the starting 5, but she will be coming off the bench, which means that Colleen Fondesi, the 5'11" junior from Fostoria, Ohio, there's number 11 on the back of the jersey, will be in the starting lineup for the Crusaders. Here's how the rest of the starting lineup shakes out for Capital. At guard will be the 5'7" senior from Akron, Ohio, number 14, Nina Napolitano. Also at guard will be the 5'8" senior from Springfield, Ohio, number 20, Jenna Irwin. Also at guard will be the 5'8" senior from Bellbrook, Ohio, number 21, Shelby Sigmund. And rounding out the starting 5 is the 5'10" senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 24, Kristen Thompson. Head coach of Capital in her 30th season here in Bexley. That would be the one, the only, Dixie Jeffers. This promises to be a game, Jimmy, that will be up-tempo offensively. John Carroll likes to really push the pace in particular. Capital likes to run as well, but with Gage out of the lineup, I would imagine that's going to slow things down a little bit.
Yeah, Fondesi obviously not as quick as Gage on the break, and Gage, one of the players that is really good at making those outlet passes that allow them to run. I think that they're going to be slowing it down and trying to make John Carroll play their style of basketball instead of adjusting to their style. And be really interesting to see who's going to be assigned the task of guarding Spahar in the half court. You could move Napolitano there. You could also have Shelby Sigmund, who is your best defender. She could match up with Spahar as well, so we'll see what they choose to go with.
The opening tip brought to you by Zoe's Cafe is won by John Carroll. Loose ball, but John Carroll is able to maintain possession. Maddie Steiner up top as we are underway here at the Cap Center. Now a 3-ball on the way. It's no good. And Kristen Thompson picking up right where she left off, coming off of a 19-rebound performance against Otterbein. She has a board early on for Capital.
Put her first in the conference in rebounding now with 10.4 a game.
Thompson underneath, and she lays it in. Nice entry pass from Colleen Fondesi.
Sigmund is the one guarding Spahar, by the way, defensively, as Dixie, not surprisingly, puts her best on-ball defender on her.
Spahar will pass it off to McManaman. McManaman now over to Edelman. Edelman to Spahar. Spahar, long jumper. That is no good. It's out of bounds, and it is off of Capital. I don't know about that call. It looked as though it was off Spahar for a little bit, but we're not officials. We're just broadcasters. So now John Carroll will inbound it from the baseline. Bounce pass in. The floater is up and in for Nicole McManaman, the sophomore from Westlake, Ohio. 2-2 between John Carroll and Capital early on.
Kind of a bit of a mismatch with McManaman being guarded by Fondesi, and they're attacking that matchup early.
Sigmund trying to drive, but she's cut off. Now they go inside to Fondesi. Turnaround jumper for Colleen is no good. Loose ball out of bounds, and it is off of Capital. It'll be John Carroll basketball, and boy, Dixie Jeffers, I don't blame her one bit for being frustrated here early on with the officiating.
That was a tough call. That one really could have gone either way without having the benefit of a replay. At least the ref made his call with some conviction there.
2-2, 8:35 left to play here in the first quarter. Just underway. Spahar drives in and misses the layup as Thompson grabs another rebound. And a foul is going to be called against John Carroll. I think they're going to get Shelby Graham, the 6-foot freshman from Solon, Ohio. That'll be the first foul against John Carroll this afternoon. First foul of our entire game.
Graham is 6 foot, so she matches up with Thompson, but she's a thin 6 foot. Thompson's definitely got some size on her if she uses her body to get aggressive down low. We just saw that on that last rebound.
Napolitano passes it into Thompson. Thompson with a long pass to Sigmund. Now it's back to Napolitano. Long jumper now, and Thompson hits it. Nice ball movement.
And we don't really see her take that shot very often, but John Carroll is in a 2-3 zone. That's kind of a soft spot in that zone, and Thompson takes advantage of that look.
4 early points for Kristen Thompson. She has scored all 4 Capitals points. 4-2 in favor of the Crusaders until a driving layup, that is, by John Carroll. Maddie Steiner with the bucket.
They're really attacking the left side of the bucket right now.
They go inside to Thompson once again. Off the glass and in. Kristen Thompson, boy, she has brought her A game so far in this one.
3 for 3. That'll give her a little fire emoji next to her.
6-4 in favor of Capital. Under 7.5 to play here in the first quarter. Steiner trying to drive against Nina Napolitano, but Nina says no. As John Carroll will have to regroup along the perimeter. That was almost a held ball that time as she was scrapping with Spahar. Now driving towards the hoop and a floater that is no good for Graham. Graham able to keep it alive for John Carroll. It's kicked back out to Spahar. Fresh shot clock. Spahar drives in, and the 10-foot jumper is good. We are tied at 6.
She doesn't need much space there. That was an off-balance, awkward-looking shot. Made it look easy on the floater.
Fondesi over to Irwin. Irwin nearly lost it, gets it back. Now she drives in, off the glass, no good. Loose ball. Colleen got a hand on it, and she lost it out of bounds. So it'll be John Carroll ball. After this quick pause on the court, Simone Gage now has checked into the ball game for Capital. Meanwhile, for John Carroll, Shmoo Pryor, sophomore from Niagara Falls, New York.
Sarah Kearney and Battaglia also coming in. That's the usual starting group for John Carroll, so they kind of wait to bring their starters in also. Interesting little chess match already between Marone and Dixie.
Shmoo Pryor running the point for John Carroll, being guarded by Simone Gage. Now gives off to Spahar. Back out to the perimeter now. Steiner driving in, and a foul's going to be called on the floor, I believe, against Napolitano, who was trying to body up Steiner on the drive right there. And it is going to be the first foul for Capital.
Again, they attacked the left side of the basket, and Capital's almost letting them.
Loose ball, a battle for it, and Irwin comes away, but they gets it to Sigmund. Now ahead to Thompson. Thompson, nice touch pass to Nina. Nina drives in and scores.
Interesting defense by Spahar as she let Napolitano just get underneath her and then didn't try to block it at all. Just kind of let her have a layup there. It's very odd.
Capital 8, John Carroll 6. 6:09 to play in the first quarter. Good start to this game, by the way. Very entertaining back-and-forth affair.
Wanting to travel there, and Shmoo might have had an extra step.
Spahar over to Steiner. Steiner, corner three is no good. It is tapped out of bounds, and it is going to be off of Capital. So John Carroll will get another crack at it offensively. Meanwhile, Capital with a substitution. Annika Watchman, the former Upper Arlington Golden Bear, comes in for Nina Napolitano. Spahar now with a quick jumper off the inbound. No good. Offensive rebound taken by John Carroll, by Battaglia, as a matter of fact. Turnaround jumper. That one is no good as well. And now a foul is going to be called against John Carroll. An incredulous look from Caitlin Spahar that time as she was battling. It looked like with Shelby Sigmund.
She wanted over the back, but she was behind Sigmund, so it would have been very strange for an over the back call. I don't know what she was motioning to the official there, but maybe she thought she was pulled down from in front of herself.
Second team foul on John Carroll. 5:35 to play in the first quarter. Capital with an 8-6 lead over John Carroll. Watchman over to Sigmund. Sigmund driving, baseline floater, no good for Shelby. And the rebound is taken by Spahar.
There's going to be some room to shoot in that 2-3 zone. John Carroll wants Capital to shoot. It's got to be a charge.
That is a charge. Correct call on that, partner, as Sarah Carney was trying to drive against Kristen Thompson, and Thompson was having none of it.
Yeah, Thompson's had a great start, but kind of finishing that point, John Carroll wants Capital to shoot. They're not a very good three-point shooting team in terms of a volume of their shots. They shoot a pretty good percentage. That's because they're very selective with when they do take threes. I wouldn't be surprised to see Capital chuck a couple more.
Irwin with a nice drive to the hoop that time. Might have gotten some contact as well, but no call. It's a 10-6 lead now for Capital.
Yeah, they're going to keep packing the zone in the more Capital attacks.
And Gage is going to be called for the foul and count the bucket as well, as Shmoo Pryor gets a nice bounce off the glass and in.
Another left-handed layup, too. That's the third one already for John Carroll, attacking the weak side of the glass.
Pryor misses the free throw, and Irwin grabs the rebound. By the way, how about this? Shmoo Pryor 5'5", Simone Gage 5'5".
Yeah, this is a really good matchup. They're both pretty quick guards as well. Both really good at steals. They're tied exactly in steals.
And Thompson keeps on moving. Boy, converts another layup. KT, yeah, baby.
They need to start fouling her. Really, she's just taking this game over right now. 4 for 4 from the field, 8 points already.
Capital 12, John Carroll 8, under 4.5 to play here in the first quarter. A bounce pass over to Steiner. Steiner with the left hook,
Ooh.
And the shot won't go in, but she was fouled on the drive towards the hoop, so she will head to the free throw line to shoot a pair of free throws. There's the third team foul on Capital. John Carroll also has 3 team fouls as well.
You could let that one go, but if they're going to call it, they're going to call it a lot. So we might see a lot of that call when there's some contact under the basket. I think Watchman did a good job of just staying where her ground, but a little bit too much with the body, I guess, and that's what drew the whistle.
Substitution for Capital, Aaron Risner, the freshman from Canfield, Ohio, checks in for Shelby Sigmund.
And she's starting to get a little bit more minutes as well.
And the second free throw is good for Steiner. It's a 12-10 game in favor of Capital. 4:16 to play in the first quarter. Thompson to Watchman. Watchman dribbling around. Passes it off now to Irwin at the top of the arc. Now it's over to Gage on the left wing. Swing pass, and Gage was trying to hit Risner with a bullet. The problem was the bullet went out of bounds.
And again, that's a soft spot in a 2-3 zone right there on that weak side. Risner had her arms way up in the air, saying, "Throw me the basketball." Was pretty open, and Gage just couldn't get it through the hands in the middle of the paint. Put too much on it.
Shmoo Pryor Gets it inside to Carney. Carney with a drive and count the bucket and a foul.
Yeah, they're calling everything down low, which is not bad. At least they're staying consistent with that. And we're going to see a lot of free throws if both teams keep attacking the basket like they are.
So now John Carroll will have a chance to take their first lead of the ball game here. Sarah Carney, sophomore from Worcester. The free throw is good. So now it's a 13-12 lead for John Carroll. 3:51 remaining in the first quarter. Gage brings it across half court. Being guarded by Shmoo Pryor. Gets a screen from Thompson and then bounces it over to Watchman on the right wing. Now it's over to Irwin at the top of the arc. Jenna drives in. It didn't get the bucket to go, but she was fouled on her way to the hoop, so now she'll head to the cherry stripe for two shots.
Kind of need Pryor right in the gut, and she's down right now. She's going to be okay. She's kind of got the wind knocked out of her, I think. And again, just there's contact there. You could let it go or you could call it, and the officials at least staying consistent on both ends of the floor, making that call. Like we said, there's going to be a lot of free throws in this game, it looks like.
Jenna Irwin, meanwhile, heads to the free throw line. First free throw is no good. Looking at the stats, getting ready for the game. One thing I noticed, Jenna Irwin up there with some of the top scorers in the OAC, a top 5 scorer, number 4, I believe, Jimmy?
Yep, she is actually third now with her game against Otterbein, up to 14.3 points per game. She's third. We mentioned Thompson first in rebounds. She's actually sixth in points as well. And Gage is right there in the top 5 in assists. So kind of the numbers you want to see out of your position players there.
Checking into the game now is Chelsea Plaw, and Kristen Thompson gets a well-deserved breather. 8 points, 2 rebounds already for Kristen Thompson.
A rather untested group in there in the front court right now. You have a front court of pretty much Watchman, Risner, and Plaw.
And what looked to be a nice defensive play by Plaw turns into another foul for Capital. Again, they're staying with the consistency inside, Jimmy, but it looked as though to me that Plaw had gotten her hands up on the shot.
It feels like every time up and down the floor we're getting a foul call. Could be in for a long one.
So now Sarah Carney at the free throw line misses the first free throw.
And we mentioned that one of the keys was the free throw shooting. John Carroll, a terrible free throw shooting team at 61%.
And the second free throw nowhere even close.
Yeah, that barely grazed the rim.
Risner gets the rebound, feeds it ahead to Watchman. Now it's back in the hands of Simone Gage. She'll bark out the signals near the right wing. 19 seconds on the shot clock. Gage bounces it over to Irwin. Irwin, 15-footer is no good. And now a rebound foul is going to be called on the inside against Sarah Carney as she pushed off against Chelsea Plaw.
Maybe pushed off. Man, they're calling everything. Should be a bonus free throw now as it's the 5th foul, so 2 free throws for Plaw coming.
So now Plaw will head to the free throw line. Man. Chelsea Plaw, 5'11" sophomore from Macedonia, Ohio, hits the first free throw. No, I'm right there with you, partner.
They're calling everything. I mean, there was some contact, sure, but, 2 girls are going for the rebound. I think I would let them play a little bit more than they are.
You see, the average fan would say, let them play.
Right.
Plaw misses the second free throw, and now it's a loose ball picked up by Shmoo Pryor. Pryor feeds it ahead. A attempted three-pointer, now driving into Spayar, has her shot knocked away, but John Carroll maintains possession.
Got to find a way to get it back to her. She has Watchman guarding her right now.
Pryor drives in and is fouled by Simone Gage.
Well,
now, there was contact on that play, I'll admit.
We'll get that one, but again, up and down the floor every time. There's some fouls. That's Gage's second. I'm thinking foul trouble is going to be a good theme in this one, and both teams' depth is really going to be tested in this game.
So Pryor hits the first free throw. That's now the 15th foul on Capital. And also 5 fouls on John Carroll as well as the fouls continue to pile up for both teams. Simone will have no choice but to get back on the bench. Shelby Sigmund, meanwhile, back out there for Capital. The second free throw is missed by Pryor. Yeah, still a tie game, 14-14.
Should be 6 fouls. The scoreboard missing that last foul.
I was going to say, yeah.
I count 6 on the stat sheet in front of us.
Sigmund, left wing, has the ball poked away by Pryor. Pryor is able to pick up the loose ball. Over to the left wing now. John Carroll. And the half-court offense, Spayhard. Now over to Graham. Graham driving, and Watchman picks her pocket. Annika racing down the court. Now she'll slow her roll, and now it's over to Irwin. To Napolitano. Napolitano, long jumper, no good, and the rebound is taken by Pryor. Pryor, baseball pass, intercepted by Nina Napolitano. Sigmund over to Plaw. Plaw, long jumper, good for Chelsea Plaw.
Not a good outlet pass at all by Pryor. I understand wanting to push the pace, but pretty much threw it right to Napolitano. And again, that soft spot in the zone is there.
Jumper no good. Plaw with the rebound after the miss by Shmoo Pryor.
I wonder with the long week of practice, well, I guess they only had a few days because they did play Saturday, but I bet they worked on those mid-range jump shots knowing that this zone was coming.
Irwin inside scores.
A little bit of a press, actually. Irwin backing off now. Looks like they were going to set up a full court press.
Coming up in a minute and a half to play here in the first half. 18-14 in favor of Capital. Driving in is Pryor, scoring with the right hand. And it's now a 2-point lead.
Look at where this pace is. Again, up-tempo. Both teams right on pace for close to 70 or 80 points each.
Irwin on the left wing. Irwin driving, and she got tripped up and fouled by Karen Spear, the 5'3" freshman from Chardon, Ohio. Karen Spear, excuse me.
Yeah, they have Kearney with 2 fouls and Gage with 2 fouls. A bunch of players on each side have 1 foul each, so this second quarter is really going to be interesting to see which team can stay out of foul trouble.
Irwin's first free throw is good, so now that should be the 6th-team foul on John Carroll.
Yeah, I guess after they get the 5, it doesn't matter anymore, so they just stop counting. Make it a little tougher on us to actually manually count them, I guess.
Oh, darn it. More math for us to do. Kristen Thompson, by the way, is checked back into the ballgame for Capital. Second free throw on the way for Irwin is good.
Thompson has 8 points on 4 of 4 shooting if you're just joining us.
And Colleen Fondesi is checked into the ballgame for Jenna Irwin. Gets a nice hand from the crowd here.
Good
minute 9 to play here in the first quarter.
Good minutes from some of the reserves, and now we'll see what the starters can do again. As Pla had some good minutes in there, as well as Risner.
Spear has it stolen away by Watchman. Watchman, they might have had Thompson going down the lane that time, nearly losing his Napolitano. But now she gets it back for Capital. Now she's on the left wing, bounces it over to Watchman. Over to Sigmund on the right wing. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Under 45 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Watchman to Napolitano, bounces it over to Sigmund on the left wing. Sigmund picked up her dribble, took one too many steps, and that'll be a turnover for Capital.
That was a real 2-for-1 opportunity. The shot clock was going to expire right at 30 seconds, so if they got a shot off just a couple seconds earlier, would have been a 2-for-1. Instead, John Carroll will have a chance to score, and then they could leave Capital with about 10 seconds to try to respond.
Spehar over to Spear, now inside. Shmoo Pryor misses the layup, and it is corralled by Thompson.
Now you hold for the last shot here.
18 seconds, 17 seconds, 16 seconds. Time continues to tick down here in the first quarter.
Let's see if Nina creates for herself or tries to set up Thompson.
Napolitano bounces it inside. Watchman not able to finish the shot. Beautiful entry pass by Napolitano. Loose ball. 2 seconds, 1 second. Spear up the court. And she's able to get it off the glass and in. Wow. Karen Spear able to beat the clock. And John Carroll hits the last bucket of the first quarter. What a first quarter it was. At the end of 1, it is Capital 20, John Carroll 18. This is Crusaders women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
Army ROTC is one of the best leadership courses in the country and can be a part of your college curriculum. As a potential or current student at Capital University, learning to become a leader will make your college experience even richer and prepare you for the future. Capital Army ROTC can provide scholarships and many more benefits to those who enroll, but the biggest benefit will be experienced firsthand after joining. For more information on Capital Army ROTC, testimonials, and an in-depth look at what the program can offer you, go to www.capital.edu/ROTC.
Welcome back to the Capital Center. We are about to start action in the second quarter. Boy, the first quarter, very entertaining between Capital and John Carroll. The Crusaders leading the Blue Streaks 20-18 alongside Jimmy Bloomfield. I'm Charlie Dance. This is a presentation of women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network. Capital shooting 57.1% from the field in that first quarter. John Carroll, meanwhile, 41.2%. And no three-pointers have been made between either squad. Interesting.
Capital hasn't even taken one.
And John Carroll's only taken 2 from outside. Fondesi on the inside to Thompson. Thompson was fouled.
It's going to be number 2 on Pryor. So the foul trouble, again, we talked about it. It's going to be a big issue this quarter with what team gets into more foul trouble.
So now Thompson will head to the free throw line. Thompson, 8 points, 3 rebounds already.
And this is where John Carroll wants Thompson to take her shots from.
And the first free throw for KT is good. By the way, checking into the ball game for Capital, let's see here, Meredith Ovies, the 5'7" sophomore from Franklin, Tennessee.
Gage has 2 fouls, so you're going to see that a lot more depth in the backcourt. Watchman was out there for, seemed like almost a whole quarter. We have the stats in front of us, says about 6 minutes, but I think she was out there for closer to 7 than 6, and she's probably gassed right now, so that's why you see Ovies out there.
Thompson hitting her second free throw. It's now Capital 22, John Carroll 18. Turnaround jumper in the lane is knocked down by Bree Pittenger, 6'1" freshman from Norwalk, Ohio. 22-20 in favor of Capital. 2-point lead for the Crusaders. Long jumper for Fondesi. Swishes it through. Colleen with the soft touch.
Yeah, they've definitely been working on that mid-range jump shot. They're coming out shooting the basketball very well. 57% in that first quarter, 8 for 14.
Capital 24, John Carroll 20. 9-12 remaining in the second quarter. Spear with a little entry pass on the inside to Graham. Graham now back outside. Ball will go out of bounds, and it will stay with John Carroll.
That thing got catapulted around. I think it hit Thompson's heel and then maybe a foot of another Capital player.
Can you say tilt? Spear inbounded it from the baseline and throws it over everybody's head. Wouldn't that be an over back?
You can go into the backcourt with that pass.
I forgot about that. Spahar, long jumper is good. Boy.
I was going to say, it looked like she first touched it on this side of the court and then brought it over, which wouldn't be allowed, but I guess they did not give her possession until she was in the backcourt.
In any case, the Spahar jumper has now cut it to 2 points once again. Fondesi had her ball tipped by Pittenger, and it leads to a steal for John Carroll. Now they will go on the inside, and Fondesi comes right back with a block on Pittenger. Nina now racing up the court. She'll drive on in. Wild shot, no good. Colleen grabbed the ball, lost it out of bounds. And fortunately for Fondesi, it'll remain Capital basketball. Speaking of Capital, they make a substitution. Annika Watchman checking in for Meredith Ovies.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of her in this one. Had 2 steals in that first half, or first quarter, I should say.
Napolitano gets it into Watchman on the left wing. Annika dribbling to her right. And now a foul is going to be called on the floor against Maddie Steiner.
I thought it was off the ball, but it wasn't. They're calling everything. We said that in the first quarter.
Already 2 fouls on John Carroll here in the second quarter. Now it's over to Sigmund. Sigmund from 3. First three-pointer is no good for Capital. But Watchman comes away with the offensive rebound. Now it's Nina Napolitano. Three-pointer on the way for Colleen. That is no good by Fondesi. And now a steal. Sigmund comes away with a loose ball. Bounce pass inside. Thompson scores.
5 for 5. 12 points, 4 rebounds in 12 minutes. Unbelievable.
And now a quick timeout taken by John Carroll. We'll take a timeout as well. 7:58 to play in the second quarter. Capital 26, John Carroll 22. This is Crusaders women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
Don't settle for a tasteless pizza after the game when Anthony's Pizzeria is right in your neighborhood, serving up the best East Coast-style pie with their own fresh dough made daily. Family-owned and Bexley proud, Anthony's offers the best subs on the block, as well as fresh calzones and stromboli, and Anthony's Pizza has been voted #1 on Pleasant Ridge. Dine in or carry out, Anthony's is easy to find at 602 Pleasant Ridge, adjacent to the Capital University Athletic Complex. And as easy as dialing 231-6628 to order the best. 231-6628, Anthony's Pizzeria.
Back here at the Capital Center, 7:51 to play here in the second quarter. It is Capital 26, John Carroll 22. Long entry pass inside to Spahar. Spahar able to get it up and in. Caitlin Spahar.
6 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist for her, but she has turned it over. And she also has just shot 3 of 7 from the field.
And speaking of turnovers, Capital did just that. And now Chelsea Pla will be coming in, checking in for Colleen Fondesi. So now John Carroll back with the basketball offensively. Karen Spear, the freshman from Chardon, Ohio, running the point for the Blue Streaks. Inside to Spahar. Spahar trying to drive, and she got fouled, and Shelby Sigmund can only put up her hands and say, well, I just
Yeah,
put my arms up.
She sold it. She hit her on that shot attempt and then put her arms up and tried to get the call that way. But
And that's what all the great scorers
Right.
do, correct? They always
Yeah,
try to find any type of contact.
Spehar's been kind of shooting these off-balance shots and finding ways to just keep her balance enough. She's got a lot of lean on her feet and, again, kind of contorted to a weird angle on that shot, and Sigmund just got enough of her.
First free throw good for Spehar. Second free throw now good for Spehar. As now checking into the game for Capital will be Jenna Irwin for Shelby Sigmund.
She hasn't left the floor yet, Spehar that is.
So now it's a 26-26 game between John Carroll and Capital. 7:19 remain in the second quarter. And now, oh my goodness, Jenna Irwin was battling with Caitlin Spehar, and Spehar fell on top of Irwin's head. Luckily, Irwin's able to get up, and she's not bothered by it one bit. Jenna Irwin might be the toughest customer on Capital's team.
Yeah, I think they called an offensive foul on Irwin there.
I believe so, because John Carroll back with the basketball now. Driving in is Graham. Irwin trying for a steal, but now a foul is going to be called against Irwin. At the very least, I thought that should have been a jump ball.
Picked up two quick ones now. That hurts. Irwin's got 2 fouls, and they don't have much. They can't go back to Gage. And, Irwin almost had a third one as she ran over someone off the ball there.
Spehar gets it into Spear. Now a steal by Watchman, and a foul is going to be called against John Carroll.
It looks like Fondesi is going to be coming in for Irwin. This shows you that depth. They just don't have any right now. They're coming. They have Irwin with 2 fouls and Gage with 2 fouls, and you have Ovies and Risner that have played a little bit today, but Dixie wanting to stay away from them, and Fondesi gets about a 30-second break.
Foul called on Kelsey Poplawski, and that's the third team foul on John Carroll here in the second quarter. Meanwhile, bounce pass into Plaw, and now a foul is going to be called against Graham.
This is a heck of alignment. They've got Pla, Fondesi, and Thompson all in at the same time.
That's a big lineup.
And the problem is when you get 3 or 4 minutes down the road from here, you're going to have 3 bigs that are tired, and they're going to have to go to someone else off the bench that maybe Dixie doesn't trust fully yet.
Fondesi to Watchman. Watchman jumper, no good. Thompson, offensive rebound, put back, no good. Another foul is going to be called against Chelsea Plaw as the rebound was taken by Shelby Graham for John Carroll.
And that's Plaw's second, and Dixie just throwing her hands up because she doesn't know what to do at this point. There's just so many fouls being called, and I would think Risner's going to get the call now to come in for Plaw.
Carr and Spear running the point, and now a double dribble is going to be called against Spehar. Checking in now for Capital is going to be Aaron Risner for Chelsea Plaw.
And Dixie's just pacing the bench right now and shaking her head. She's not mad at Plaw or anything like that. She's just mad at the way this game is being called, and she's really going to earn her money coaching today if this team continues to stay in foul trouble.
Fondesi inside, Thompson, and now another foul is going to be called. This time against John Carroll, this time against Shelby Graham as she was battling for position against Thompson. Boy,
And
you know,
Marone,
at some point you got to have the players play, you know?
Marone just threw her arms up. She doesn't know what to do anymore. That was the second foul on her girl now, so she's going to have her bench coming in.
Thompson's first free throw is good.
In the bonus right now is Thompson, and we're at the 6:26 mark. This is kind of absurd. And we could have a third quarter where it's bench versus bench.
Thompson, meanwhile, just continues to score buckets. Second free throw, no good. I jinxed her that time.
Pushed it a little bit there.
Capital 27, John Carroll 26. Thompson with 13 points and 5 rebounds, by the way. Spehar gets in, and it's a traveling violation.
Oh, that was blatant. I'm glad that they didn't call a foul there. She took about 3 or 4 steps. Heard me say it right away. There's no way that was not a travel. And a good call by the officials.
So now Nina Napolitano running the point for Capital, brings it across half court.
There was certainly contact on the shot, but she traveled well before it.
To Thompson to Watchman on the right wing. Watchman, bounce pass inside to Thompson. Thompson fakes it, backs her man down, off the glass and in. Kristen Thompson continues to have a strong game, 15 points for KT.
And with Graham having 2 fouls, they have Maggie Adelman in there. A 5'7" guard was guarding her there, a freshman as well. That is a matchup right now that you would have Thompson kind of salivating. You got to keep going right back to that.
Poplawski with a pass inside to Pittenger. Back to Poplawski. Long jumper. Barely grazes iron. Thompson goes for the rebound, and it's off of John Carroll. It will be Capital basketball.
McManaman almost snuck in there and hit it off of Thompson. It was actually Pittenger that was guarding Thompson on that last series, but another freshman. So many freshmen on this John Carroll team. They have no seniors. It's a very young team, and Thompson is kind of putting them to school right now.
Nina Napolitano inside to Thompson.
Oh.
To Risner. Risner almost lost out of bounds, but keeps possession alive. Napolitano with a drive inside, and a charge is going to be called against Napolitano. Defending on the play was Katie Battaglia.
Guess what? That's number 2 on Nina, so we'll see if they go to Obies again now, or if they just, at some point you might have to just leave someone out there with 2 fouls. It looks like Dixie's looking to get someone, though.
Boy, either way, both teams are going to have to dig deep into their bench, the way this game is being called.
And Sigmund had about 30 seconds of a break, and it looks like she's going to be coming back in now.
Yeah, so much for resting on the bench.
Yeah.
Spahar on the right wing. And now a long jumper on the way. It's no good for Pittenger, and Capital comes away with the rebound. And Fondesi nearly loses it. Colleen has to collect her bearings before she's able to get it off to Nina Napolitano. Now it's over to Risner. Risner on the inside, gets it over to Colleen. Colleen will go baseline, pass on the inside. Jumper good for Annika Watchman.
Beautiful job of following that play and filling the lane correctly there by Watchman, and good vision from Fondesi to find her.
Capital 31. John Carroll 26. 4:35 to play.
That's 3.
And now another foul, this time against Nina Napolitano as she was defending against Spahar.
She hit her right in the face. It wasn't intentional. She was trying to swat at the ball and got her right in the face. So that's 3 on Napolitano.
And I would imagine she's going to be checking out here.
Well, Sigmund was going to come in for her anyway. And now that's her 3rd foul. So now Napolitano's probably going to be out for most of this game. We probably won't see her until midway through the 3rd quarter, if that.
Spahar hits the first free throw. She's now got 9 points in the game. So now Sigmund comes in for Nina Napolitano. Nina with 2 points in this game.
I mean, Spahar has just 1 foul. If that's the girl you got to really go at here if you're Cap, get her into foul trouble as well. And you'd like your chances against John Carroll's bench. But Spahar has been able to stay out of the foul trouble and still find ways to score.
Sigmund, throws it away. Battaglia down the lane. Shot is no good. She misses it. And now John Carroll gets it back, and now a jump ball is going to be called.
Jump ball.
I didn't see
That
two players
grabbing
the ball.
There was 2 John Carroll players battling for it. One let the other have it. The ball hit the ground, and they called it jump. But I guess we'll take it. Not really sure what they saw, though.
The possession arrow favors John Carroll, so the Blue Streaks still maintain possession. And they'll get it into Caitlin Spahar. She'll take it in the backcourt after the long inbounds pass from Karin Spear. Spahar, right wing, back outside to McManaman.
Spear was spotting up. They missed her.
Top of the arc for Spear. 13 on the shot clock. Spear trying to drive inside. And, boy, she might have gotten away with a travel right there. Drive inside, no good. Battle for the ball, out of bounds, and it will be John Carroll basketball.
Yeah, Dixie wanted to travel. I don't think she got away with one. I think it was a clean move there. And a nice little sidestep on that drive as well from McManaman.
Pittenger inbounding from the baseline. Has to get it in quickly, and she does to Battaglia on the right wing. Battaglia being guarded by Colleen. Now it's over to Spahar. Caitlin Spahar with a bounce pass. Out of bounds, and it will be Capital. No, it's going to be John Carroll basketball.
I think it tipped off Fondesi on its way through there.
So now another inbounds play for Karin Spear.
They've been throwing these into the backcourt. You really got to take advantage of an inbound under the basket, like there.
And off the glass and in for Nicole McManaman.
That's what you have to do. It's easy to get a basket under the, or to get just an easy look under the basket on an inbounds from under the basket, and they finally did that.
Sigmund to Fondesi. Fondesi on the left wing. Nearly threw it away that time, but Watchman gathers it up. To Thompson, long pass to Sigmund. Shelby now with a long jumper. Shelby gets it to rattle home.
And we've said this many times. Sigmund is out there for her defense, but she does have the ability to make a shot or two. Spahar not respecting that at all. Lets Sigmund get the jump shot, and she does a good job of knocking it down.
33-30 in favor of Capital. 3:03 to play in the second quarter. Long three-pointer, and that doesn't hit anything. It'll go out of bounds, and it will be Capital basketball. And speaking of Capital, Dixie Jeffers is going to be taking a timeout. We'll take a timeout as well. 2:59 remaining in the second quarter. Once again, Capital 33, John Carroll 30. This is Crusaders women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
Buddy, I'm Keith Jackson. College coaches work hard to beat their opponents, but now they're all on the same team to defeat Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It's called Coach to Cure MD, and you can help. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 to donate $5 on your next mobile phone bill, or go online at coachtocuremd.org. Text the word CURE to 90999 and help coaches cure MD.
Brought to you by the American Football Coaches Association. Standard messaging rates apply.
We're back here at the Capitol Center, 2:59 to play in the second quarter. And Capitals in a dogfight with John Carroll. They lead the Blue Streaks 33-30. Watchman over to Sigmund on the left wing. Over to Watchman now. Back to Sigmund. Sigmund dribbles to her right now inside to Fondesi. Back out to Watchman. Watchman, long jumper is no good. And the rebound is taken by Bree Pittenger of John Carroll. The Blue Streaks looking to push it here a little bit, but now they slow things up in the half court. It is over to Spahar near the right wing. Spahar will now bounce it back outside of the perimeter to Karin Spear. 13 on the shot clock. Spear on the right wing, guarded by Watchman. Now outside to Spahar. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Spahar's got to go. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Spahar, three-pointer, no good. And Spear is able to out-jump everybody despite being 5'3". An offensive board for Karin Spear and a fresh shot clock for John Carroll.
Just an atrocious box out. She just walked right into the lane and jumped and got it at its highest point.
A bounce pass inside. The layup is missed. And John Carroll still with the ball, and a traveling violation called against Katie Battaglia, which will give the ball back to Capitol.
Tough rebound, sorry there, Charlie, by Battaglia. Able to somehow get it, and then just decided not to dribble and walk with the ball instead of putting it down on the floor.
Capitol 33, John Carroll 30. 1:42 remaining in the second quarter.
I still would go at Spahar here and try to get her that second foul.
Colleen with a long three-pointer. Colleen Fondesi from downtown.
Buckets.
36-30, a 6-point lead for Capitol. 1:25 remaining in the second quarter.
Largest lead of the day for Cap.
John Carroll in the half court. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Spahar trying to drive. And boy, she was diving at an odd angle. Somehow got the contact. And Shelby Sigmund's just beside herself. What else can I do as a defender when the offensive player's coming at me from all different directions?
That's her second foul, too. So you got to find someone to come in for her. It looks like Moran, I believe, will be replacing her. That is Emily Moran.
Meanwhile, Spahar at the foul line and misses the free throw.
So now you got a lineup of Fondesi, Thompson, Moran, and Risner all in there. Actually, she's coming in for Fondesi.
And Watchman running the point for Capitol.
Now Irwin's going to come in for Risner, so they're going to leave Sigmund out there with the 2 fouls.
But remember, Jenna Irwin also has 2 fouls as well.
Right, yeah. Oh, man, this is just a tough game. This is where you really earn your money, like I said earlier. Managing these foul situations, getting the right girls out there, but not putting out a lineup that's going to cost your team the game.
And Watchman has her pocket picked. Coming back with the basketball is Spear. Spear on the inside, and Spahar scores on the right block.
Just straight up ran over Watchman. No call. I don't understand how that one got no call. At least call it one way or the other. But they let that one go.
Under 50 seconds. Sigmund to Thompson, and now a foul's called on Moran.
Wow.
Moran just got a little too feisty, I guess, with the arm that time, and is called for the foul.
That's kind of one of those situations where both girls are battling for position, and they might have caught Moran retaliating to kind of a bump the other way, and she's the one that gets caught for the foul.
Capitol 36, John Carroll 33, 37 seconds and counting. A jumper on the way for Spahar, no good. And now a rebound by Capitol. Foul also called on the inside. It looks like against Nicole McManaman.
Over the back, that's McManaman's second, so the foul trouble continues. This third quarter is going to be really interesting. If they call this game the same way, we're going to have 4 or 5 girls, probably 2 or 3 from each side, that are going to have 3 or 4 fouls in the third quarter, and we're going to see some players that we normally wouldn't see maybe decide this game in that third quarter.
Irwin, first free throw is good. 37-33, Capitol in front of John Carroll. 34.4 seconds remaining in the first half. Here comes the second free throw for Irwin, and that rattles in and out. It's fed ahead now to McManaman. McManaman slows up on the left wing. Now it's back outside to Spahar, who's effectively running the point.
Sigmund cannot pick up a foul here in this possession.
Now it's over to Camille Adelman. Adelman loses it. Irwin comes away almost with the steal, battling for it. Now there's a scrap for it. Dog pile near the foul line. No call. And now a foul is called at the last second against John Carroll.
That was so late. At that point, you just got to let it go. And it's called on Spahar, too. That's unbelievable, and they might overrule this. I mean, it looked like there definitely was a foul.
They're going to have to overrule this, right?
The official from mid-court decided to blow his whistle and make the call. And I think they might call the foul still. That might be upheld. There definitely was some contact, and there definitely should have been a foul called, but the foul was not called. And then about 2 seconds later, the official at mid-court made the call. Now, this should be free throws as well if it is a foul, and I'm not understanding why they're inbounding the basketball as Capital is in the bonus.
Confusing times here at the Cap Center, that is for sure. So Moran, in any case, will inbound it from the near side of the court. 6 seconds left to go here. Watchman near the arc, drives in, puts it up, misses it, but she got fouled with 0.7 of a second left.
There was not a lot there either. I guess they had to call an offensive foul, and that's why there weren't free throws. But when there's a scramble for the ball, I don't know how you can call it offensive. Very interesting that last few minutes there. And it was an offensive foul called against Spahar, so she has 2 fouls now.
Watchman makes her first free throw. 38-33.
This is just kind of absurd with all the fouls. Each team has at least 4 players with 2 fouls in this game.
Watchman misses the second free throw. Clock runs out here in the first half. Well, how should I put this? A rather interesting first half that we've had here at the Capitol Center. At the end of the first half, it is Capital 38, John Carroll 33. Coming up, we will have the Anthony's Pizzeria halftime show. We'll dissect what took place in the first half and get you updated with the latest happenings around the Ohio Athletic Conference. Again, Capital 38, John Carroll 33. This is Capital Women's Basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
Dill's Greenhouse is a local family business dedicated to offering the best shopping experience and honest prices for your gardening needs. If you're in need of annuals, perennials, vegetable plants, or any variety of gardening tools and resources, Dill's Greenhouse is more than happy to get you on the right path. Dill's Greenhouse is located at 5800 Rager Road in Groveport, Ohio, and is open 7 days a week. Visit them online for more information at dillsgreenhouse.net. Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better.
Hello, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. For 50 years, I've witnessed some of the greatest contests in college football. Young men in competition reaching for their potential at the highest level. But their courage is more than matched by another group of young men. The boys fighting Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It is the most prolific genetic killer diagnosed in childhood. And there is no cure. But college football coaches are doing something about it, and you can help. It's called Coach to Cure MD. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 to donate $5 on your next mobile phone bill, or go online at coachtocuremd.org. Text the word CURE, C-U-R-E, to 90999 today, and help the college football coaches cure MD. You'll be proud you joined the team.
Brought to you by the American Football Coaches Association. Standard messaging rates apply.
Jimmy John's, world's greatest gourmet sandwiches. Ed speaking.
Yes, I need a sandwich delivery right away.
What kind of sandwich?
I don't care. Just get it to 215 Elm Street right now.
I'm on my way.
Jimmy John's.
Thanks for getting here so fast.
You're welcome, sir. Here's your sandwich. By the way, did you know your house is on fire?
That's why I called Jimmy John's.
Fire makes you hungry?
No, I knew you'd get here fast. Grab a bucket.
We're going to need more than 2 guys, sir.
You're right. What'll we do?
Leave it to me, sir. Hello, boss. Send everyone you got to 215 Elm. Doesn't matter what kind of sandwich, sir. I'll explain later. Thank you, sir.
Jimmy John's. Come in. Sir, did you know your house is on fire? Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you know your
yes,
house
I did.
is on
Grab
fire?
a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you know?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket.
Jimmy John's.
Come in.
Sir, did you?
Yes, I did. Grab a bucket. Fire department. Come in. Sir, did you know you... It's okay, Captain. We got it handled. Care for a sandwich? Thanks, but tell me something. Shoot. Why didn't you call the fire department first? I did.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Anthony's Pizzeria halftime show. At the half, it is Capital 38, John Carroll 33. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Dance. Well, Jimmy, both teams shooting at a pretty good clip, but the big theme from that first half, a lot of fouls called. Contact is at a premium today.
Yeah, man, I don't know what to make of it. I think that a lot of the fouls really could have been no whistles and just let them play. And we're getting to the point now. I just circled on our stat sheet here. Capital has 4 players with at least 2 fouls. Napolitano has 3. And then you have John Carroll, who has 5 players, including Spahar, with 2 fouls themselves. So just the amount of people that have played in this game as well. Both teams have played over 10 players already. And normally, some of those players would only be coming in kind of a mop-up role late in games. But instead, we're seeing them throughout that first half. And I think this third quarter, if the game is called the same way, we're going to see a lot of the kind of 8th, 9th, 10th players off the bench play decisive roles in this game. And obviously both teams didn't plan on that coming in, so whatever team has more depth, this is kind of one of those games where you are, testing that depth, and you hope that you had enough of that experience early in games. That's why first couple games of the season you'll see teams go to their bench more often than they would late in a season. It's for games like this when the the refs are kind of taking the game out of the players' hands and really deciding this game at the free throw line, it looks like.
This is the only game taking place within the OAC. If Capital comes away with a win today, they would improve their record to 3-2. They would push themselves up into a 3-way tie for 4th place in the OAC. Meanwhile, John Carroll, they're near the bottom of the barrel. They're 1-3 in conference play. With a win today, they would tie Wilmington with a 2-3 mark within conference play. Let's now take a look at the halftime stats brought to you by Plink's Cafe. Let's start with John Carroll. Well, no surprise here. Caitlin Spahar is your leading scorer for John Carroll. She came in averaging just under 18 points per game for the Blue Streaks. She's got 13 at the half, Jimmy.
13, 5, and assist. The big number, 4 turnovers. A little bit unexpected out of her. She does have 2 steals. She played every minute of that half as well, and now has the 2 fouls, so she'll have to be a little bit more careful. She got a foul in that very confusing sequence at the end of the half where she was the one called for an offensive foul, even though it was a loose ball scramble. Kind of a cheap foul to get for your second one, but Capital will take that for sure. I think you have to start going after her to try to get her out of this game because, like we said, 13 points. She's really taking over right now.
Meanwhile, other scores for John Carroll in that first half. 4 points for Maddie Steiner, 4 points for Bree Pittenger, 3 points for Sarah Carney, 2 points for Karen Spear, and 5 points for Shmoo Pryor. As a team, John Carroll shot 38.7% from the field. They were 0 of 4 from three-point range, 0.0% for those of you not strong in the math department, and 9 of 14 from the free throw line, good for 64.3%. Meanwhile, for Capital, their leading scorer was Kristen Thompson. Boy, Jimmy, KT was a beast in the first half.
Very efficient, 6 for 7, 15 points. She has 5 rebounds as well. Does not have any turnovers. Played 18 minutes. She stayed out of foul trouble. Cross your fingers, knock on wood, all that good stuff. She has just 1 foul in this game, and if she can stay out of foul trouble, she's going to have to go against, 8th and 9th players off the bench for John Carroll because a lot of their bigs are in foul trouble right now. If she can just keep plugging away, we might get into a situation where John Carroll just fouls her and sends her to the free throw line and makes her get it done there, where she is 3 of 4 today as well.
Other scores for Capital in that first half. 5 points for Colleen Fondesi, 2 points for Nina Napolitano, 8 points for Jenna Irwin, 2 points for Shelby Sigmund, 3 points for Annika Watchman, and 3 points for Chelsea Plaw. As a team, Capital shot a blistering 53.8% from the field. Only 3 shots from the perimeter. They have made 1, good for 33.3%, and they are 9 of 14 from the free throw line, good for 64.3%. Jimmy, as I take a closer look at the stats here, John Carroll is winning the rebounding battle 21-17 in favor of the Blue Streaks. The turnovers are just about even. John Carroll with 11, Capital with 10.
And 9 offensive rebounds for John Carroll is really tilting the scale their way. I don't read too much into rebounding because a lot of that is due to what team is making their shots. Capital's making their shots, and the fact that Capital's making their shots and John Carroll is leading the rebound department, that's what makes it significant because of all those offensive rebounds. Something Capital's going to have to limit those second chance opportunities. One anomaly I kind of saw in the stat sheet, Shelby Sigmund came into this game with 5 assists on the season. She had 5 assists in the first half very quietly as well. And she's played a really big role on the defensive side of the ball, made a nice jump shot as well, so we should give her some credit, playing 16-plus minutes, guarding probably the best player or the second-best player in the conference.
Meanwhile, not a lot of Simone Gage today. Only 4 minutes for Simone Gage so far in this contest.
2 fouls for her as well, and she did come off the bench. She's kind of lingering an injury anyway, so, if you want to rest her, I guess it's kind of a win, but she's going to be well rested for the second half. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of Gage if she can stay out of foul trouble. And really didn't get on the stat sheet at all. She had 1 turnover, and that was it. No shot attempts, no assists, nothing of that nature. Played just 4 minutes, like you said. And this team really doesn't have their floor general out there. It's kind of interesting how they've been playing without her. Watchman's done a great job in relief.
When we come back, we'll talk a little more basketball, this time on the men's side, as the men's team has really surprised in OAC play. And also, another football national championship for Mountain Union. We'll discuss that as well as they bring another title back to the OAC. This is the Anthony's Pizzeria Halftime Show here on your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Don't settle for a tasteless pizza after the game when Anthony's Pizzeria is right in your neighborhood, serving up the best East Coast-style pie with their own fresh dough made daily. Family owned and Bexley proud, Anthony's offers the best subs on the block, as well as fresh calzones and stromboli, and Anthony's Pizza has been voted #1 on Pleasant Ridge. Dine in or carry out, Anthony's is easy to find at 602 Pleasant Ridge, adjacent to the Capital University Athletic Complex, and as easy as dialing 231-6628 to order the best. 231-6628, Anthony's Pizzeria.
OSU Sports Medicine is a proud supporter of Crusader student-athletes by providing sports health services for Capital University athletics and student health services. Through the work and care of team physicians and athletic trainers, it's the team behind your team. For all fans, if you're looking to improve your physical performance, recover from an injury, or stay active for a lifetime, the experts at Ohio State Sports Medicine are there for you. Visit sportsmedicine.osu.edu or call 366-4332. Just as fresh as its pizza, Donato's is fresh off of its 50th anniversary and still serving the Columbus area with pride. Now introducing online ordering, Donato's Pizza is ready for your order at any time from anywhere. Donato's also features a gluten-free menu and will even cater your next big event. Donato's Pizza in Bexley is located at 2800 East Main Street and is available by phone at 614-235-4477. Donato's Pizza, proud supporter of Capital Crusader Athletics.
Welcome back to the Anthony's Pizzeria halftime show. At the half, it is Capital leading John Carroll 38-33. Let us take our attention from the hard court to the gridiron for just a moment. We'd like to congratulate our OAC brethren, Mount Union. Another sterling football season for the Purple Raiders, Jimmy. Another national championship for Mount.
Yeah, we were talking about just now counting how many times they've been there. Since 2004, or excuse me, since 2005, they've either won the championship or been the runner-up. So they've made it to the title game every year since 2005. And if you go back to 2000, they've either won or been second place all but 1 year. So it's just an insane run that they've been on. They beat St. Thomas 49-35, the same team they beat on their last championship back in 2012. It's also the first championship for Vince Kiris the son of Larry.
Oh,
getting
yes.
his first title as well, as congratulations to him, and probably many more to come for him in his young career.
Oh, he's going to keep on keeping that machine humming up in Alliance, Ohio. Meanwhile, let's now go back to the hard court. Jimmy, we talked a little bit about this in the pregame show. Capital men's basketball. To think that an interim head coach and Andy Winters would take one of the youngest rosters, if not the youngest roster in the OAC, and have them at 7-3 at this point, and 3-1 in OAC play. Even though it's really early on in conference play, that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, they've really benefited from a kind of an easier start to conference schedule. So we will put this in perspective. I'll kind of be the pessimist and put the brakes on it a little bit. They have had a pretty easy schedule at this point, and we'll see what happens the next few games. But they've got Mark Minch, who just out of nowhere has become, he was from D2 transfer, so probably one of the favorites to be a player of the year in the conference very quietly. You look at some others that could be in that conversation. Kakura has kind of quieted down from Mount Union. Cam Kuhn is really leading the way in terms of points per game, but he has a 52-point game in there that's really helping his average out. And if Capital keeps winning, you could very well see Mark Minch there. Michael Green has been fantastic as a senior, didn't get to play last year. And if he was there last year, kind of really would have changed the story of what that team could have been with Andrew Bolka and Dixon still there. And if they had Minch a year earlier as well, it really could have been something special. But they've got a nice young group that is growing together. Hannah, as a freshman, is playing very well, among others. And if they can just keep that going, still haven't seen A.J. Dixon really hit his stride. And if we see Capital get the best production out of all their players, we still haven't seen that this year. So the ceiling is still higher than it is right now. But they've got to be feeling really good about being 3-1. We'll see what happens the next three against Marietta, Mount Union, and John Carroll. If you steal one even, you got to feel good about yourself. You come through that stretch 4-3, the schedule will lighten up a little bit again. You can find yourself as a top 5 seed come tournament time.
That's men's basketball. Let's now get back to our women's basketball affair here in Bexley, Ohio. Coming out of halftime, it is Capital 38, John Carroll 33. So glad that you could join us for this afternoon edition of Crusaders women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network. And a good start for Capital as the jumper swishes through for Colleen Fondesi. 40-33 in favor of Capital. 9:39 remaining in the third quarter. John Carroll back with the basketball. A kick ball by Jenna Irwin, and the Blue Streaks will keep possession. Capital in their traditional white uniforms with purple lettering on the front, gray numbers on the back. Meanwhile, John Carroll sporting their navy blue uniforms. They have the numbers around the midriff. They have John Carroll up top on the chest, and then Carroll at the bottom of the jersey. And Thompson comes away with a steal for Capital here. So a nice offensive possession, a nice defensive stop to begin the second half for Capital. A little give and go between Thompson and Gage, but Gage is going to be called for a charge as Spahar was able to stand her ground.
Yeah, she's very elaborate with her passes and always steps forward while she makes that pass. It was a very good pass, but unfortunately you can't just fly your body through the lane, especially today. Good job by John Carroll of taking that charge, and for Gage, it's foul number 3.
Shmoo Pryor over to Spahar. Spahar will bounce it over to a teammate who misses the shot. That'd be Maddie Steiner. Now a battle for the loose ball, and Thompson comes away with it. And now a foul is going to be called against Spahar.
Oh, that's number 3 on Spahar. That's a very bad foul. You just got to stay away from that situation. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can get that foul, kind of cheap foul again in the midcourt. And Coach Marone now really has a big decision if she's going to leave her out there or not.
I'm just wondering why she would want to get in front of the Tonka truck in the form of Kristen Thompson. When she has all that momentum going forward, yikes. Thompson to Irwin on the right wing. Jenna going over her options before getting it over to Sigmund. Sigmund nearly loses the ball in the corner, but gets it back. Bounce pass, and it's intercepted by John Carroll. Battaglia feeds it ahead to Spahar. Spahar will pop a jumper from the free throw line and make it look easy.
Good luck defending that. Just stops on a dime and takes a little 15-footer.
40-35. Capital with the lead. Over to Irwin. Irwin with a three-pointer. That is no good, and the rebound is taken by Steiner for John Carroll. Steiner will now push it, but it's intercepted by Simone Gage. Now to Shelby Sigmund. Sigmund across half court. Sigmund back to Gage, and Simone will now bark out instructions as Capital goes into the half-court offense.
John Carroll's gone to a man defense now, Charlie.
And Irwin is fouled on her way to the hoop by Steiner, so now she'll head to the free throw line to shoot a pair of free throws.
They're using that man defense, and they're having someone front Thompson as well as having someone play behind her, kind of double teaming her. Capital really has to spread the floor if they want Thompson to get going again.
Irwin's first free throw is good.
I mean, of course, they've had other scoring options, and Irwin among those. Getting it done at the free throw line today, really. She has 9 points. 5 of them have come from the line.
Here comes the second free throw for Irwin, and that one is good as well. She becomes the second player today for Capital to tally double figures in scoring, the first being Kristen Thompson, who has 15. Shmoo Pryor now on the left wing for John Carroll. They will go inside. Back out to Pryor. Pryor nearly loses her balance, and she throws it away. Gage comes away with the steal. Running the court. Bounce pass. Irwin lays it up and in.
Game's getting away from John Carroll right now. It's a 9-point game, but they haven't done anything offensively.
Their shooting percentage has dipped under 40%. Spayar, long three-pointer, no good. Battle for the ball. Irwin comes away with it. Gage is now she's going to slow up with it. She had Pryor one-on-one in the open court. Now goes to Colleen. Colleen wasn't able to get it off of the back of the rim. Now they go over to Steiner, and Steiner's all by her lonesome. There wasn't anybody within 10 feet of her.
Both teams are gassed right now from that little sequence, and both teams were lazy defensively. Unfortunately, Capital couldn't do anything with it. John Carroll got a wide open layup.
Sigmund with a shot, no good off the glass, but then it will go out of bounds, and it will be to Capital after going off with the fingertips of Shmoo Pryor.
Spahar is frustrated right now. The 2 fouls, I think, has frustrated her. The fact that she's just 5 of 13 from the field is frustrating to her. The scoreboard's frustrating to her, and they're just lost control of where she was. Had to just throw it away and hope the teammate was in the area, but there was no one there.
Couple substitutions for both teams. Annika Watchman comes in for Capital. Bree Pettinger now comes in for John Carroll. Yeah, this is starting to get a little ridiculous now.
She just tripped over Irwin, and Irwin's called for a foul. And that's incidental contact if I've ever seen it. Oh, that hurts. That's Irwin's third also.
Pryor back with the basketball for John Carroll. Over to Pittenger. Pittenger will pitch it on over to Steiner. That was across half court, and Spayar gets in, misses the layup. Now there's a battle for it, and it'll go out of bounds on the near side. It'll stay with John Carroll after going off for the hand of Simone Gage.
You wouldn't know it, but she's really not herself right now. Spahar never misses that layup. 15 points and 8 rebounds on the stat sheet, though, and it looks like she's having the classic Spahar day, but it could be much higher.
And an offensive foul is going to be called against Carney. She was twisting and turning and trying to get contact against Capital's defense, but in the end, she came up short.
Kearney's third as well.
Gage now on the right wing. I feel like with all the fouls being accumulated here today, we need an accountant. And now another foul.
I guess that one was on Pryor. I didn't see anything. Third foul for Pryor now. And we're going to have to get some walk-ons to finish this game out. Go recruit right now on campus, see if anyone's shooting on one of the courts.
Anybody that can dribble a basketball, please report to the court.
Oh, my goodness. All the students are on break, though, so it's going to be tough to find one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Nina Napolitano checks back into the ballgame for Capital.
This is getting ridiculous.
Irwin bounces it in to Thompson. Thompson trying to twist her way, but now back out to Irwin on the right wing.
And Thompson's one of the players who usually is in foul trouble, and she's one of the few players today that isn't.
Can you say irony? Three-pointer on the way. Jenna has it rim in and out. Now there's a scramble for it right below the rim, and now a jump ball is going to be called, and I believe Capital, nope, it's going to go to John Carroll.
Cap started with the ball at half, which gave them the arrow, so that'll give John Carroll the advantage now.
So Steiner will now inbound it to Shmoo Pryor. Pryor from Niagara Falls, New York. So you have to believe that she lives near Buffalo based on geography. Jumper no good, and the rebound is taken by Napolitano after the miss by Pittenger. Irwin cross to Watchman. Watchman now back to Nina. 19 on the shot clock. Capital leading John Carroll 44-37, under 5.5 to play in the third quarter. Irwin driving in, and now a foul is going to be called against Maddie Steiner. And the way this game is going, Colleen Fondesi quickly looked at the ref like, oh, not me.
Kind of a PSA if anyone of our viewers is in the Ohio Valley area. There might be some tornadoes in your area tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Just saw that come across my Twitter feed.
Free throw is good. This has been the oddest weather. I'll discuss it more at length here in just a moment. Coming into the game, meanwhile, is Karen Spear and Nicole McManaman. Tornadoes in Ohio in December.
It rained pretty much all night last night here in the area.
Oh, trust me, I saw the rain this morning, and it was coming down by the buckets. And now timeout is going to be called by Capital. We'll take a timeout as well. 5:25 remain in the third quarter. It is Capital 46, John Carroll 37. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Ed, what is that bizarre contraption?
It's my latest Jimmy John's online ordering enhancement, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir. You know our popular Jimmy John's online ordering service?
Yes, click, order, eat.
This is the perfect time-saving companion.
How perfect, Ed?
Presenting the Jimmy John's F4000 three-dimensional sandwich printer.
Oh, boy.
See, we put one of these babies in the home of every Jimmy John's customer.
Uh-huh.
They order the sandwich online.
Uh-huh.
And we send a signal to the F4000 to make their sandwich.
Ed, how much does one of these babies cost?
With the quantity discount, $50,000, sir.
And how long does it take to print a sandwich?
About 8 hours, sir.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
So back to the drawing board?
No, stay away from the drawing board, Ed.
We're back here at the Capitol Center. 5:25 remain in the third quarter. Charlie Danis and Jimmy Bloomfield bringing you the action today from a rather balmy Bexley. Temperatures pushing 60 degrees today, and when you know it, Christmas Eve is right around the corner too. Odd times here in Central Ohio, I tell you. Both teams coming back out onto the court. So Capital with a 9-point lead over John Carroll. Capital continues to shoot well from the field, 50% to be more specific. Meanwhile, Jimmy, John Carroll's kind of fallen off the deep end here. They're now down to 36.8% from the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of time left, so they just need to calm down and get something going offensively, but that's easier said than done this quarter.
Three-pointer swishes through for Spear.
There you go.
That's the first three-pointer made on the day for John Carroll, I believe.
Spear had the nice buzzer beater at the end of the first quarter as well. Looking like she could catch fire a little bit.
Capital 46, John Carroll 40. 4:55 to play in the third quarter. Colleen thought about a three. Now she'll dribble on in. Nice bounce pass over to Sigmund, who swings it over to Nina. Nina inside to KT. KT not able to get the bunny to go. Not enough glass on the shot, and John Carroll comes away with the rebound.
With the fouls that have been called today, they really could have called one there. There was more contact on that one than some of the other calls they've made today.
Spahar.
Got to get a body on her.
On the right wing, trying to dribble on inside, off the glass, no good, and Fondesi comes away with a rebound for Capital. She'll now get it over to Napolitano, to Watchman. Watchman thought about driving, now inside to Thompson. Outside, now Sigmund, long jumper, and Shelby knocks it through. It'll be a two-pointer, though.
She did a good job of rebounding that last possession and getting back to Spahar, who was kind of using a screen and had an opening. I think she should have shot it instead of attacking the basket.
Loose ball. Thompson comes away with the steal, and, man, then she was toppled by John Carroll player. I think she was battling on the inside with Nicole McManaman.
She got mauled there. It was actually on 34, which is Camille Edelman, who we saw start this game briefly and then came out. And that's her second foul in very limited playing time.
Correct. So now Thompson will head to the free throw line. Capital is in the bonus shooting free throws here due to the accumulation of fouls in this third quarter for John Carroll.
And they're starting to get the percentage up at 72% right now. Obviously, Thompson's not the best shooter, though.
And her first free throw no good for Thompson. Thompson with 15 points, 7 rebounds. KT has put in a good performance so far this afternoon. Second free throw on the way, and Thompson misses the second, out of bounds, and it will be Capital basketball. Not able to stay in bounds was Pittenger. And now a couple substitutions here. Let's see, John Carroll actually went with one substitution. Shelby Graham checks in for the Blue Streaks. Sigmund will inbound it from the baseline for Capital.
Thompson getting a much-deserved breather.
Napolitano with a 10-foot jumper. No good as it rattles in and out. And Graham able to save it into Spahar. Spahar will now dribble ahead, forward, off the glass. No good. Spahar misses another layup. And now a jump ball is called. And it will go to Capital.
5 of 16 from the field now, and a couple of turnovers as well. I think she's at 5 or 6 now for Spahar. She's going to get a double-double in this game, Charlie, but you really have to credit Capital for stopping her with how inefficient she's been shooting the basketball.
Sigmund, jumper good.
Sigmund quietly had 5 assists in the first half, and now she's at 6 points.
But John Carroll comes right back with a Pittenger jumper from 10 feet out.
You're up 8. Slow it down. You don't want John Carroll out and running.
Napolitano on the right wing. And a foul is going to be called against Shelby Graham as Napolitano was trying to create some space for herself.
I agree with that one, Charlie. That one, a lot of contact there. And Napolitano, a good free throw shooter, will get to the line. That's the 3rd foul for Graham. And a lot of frustration. I think these fouls are really starting to get to John Carroll. And Capital's kind of been more disciplined despite the foul situation. That's kind of a story that isn't really told when there's a foul trouble game. It's very frustrating as a player to get fouls called when there's not a lot of contact, and Capital's responded to it better than John Carroll has.
First free throw good for Napolitano. Second free throw now is also good for Nina. So that will give Nina 4 points. It's been a quiet day offensively for Nina, but she continues to be her rather energetic self out there on the hard court.
Assistant Jason Wright, one of the assistants for Capital, he's been very vocal today with a bunch of players as they're coming on and off the bench. I'm not quite sure what his message is, but he's been pretty much in the ear of everyone as they come in and off the court for Capital.
10-point lead for Capital. Now a foul called on the inside, looks like against Colleen Fondesi. She was defending on the drive against Shelby Graham.
Obviously, Dixie gets all the pub being here 30 years, but Jason Wright himself, coach, has been here for 16 years as her assistant, kind of her right-hand man. In terms of the basketball program.
Also helped out by Andrea Preston, who is in her 2nd year here at Capital. And actually, Jimmy, Coach Preston has a big similarity with you. She's a Cubs fan, just like you.
Good time to be a Cubs fan.
And now a jump ball is going to be called, and it will go to John Carroll.
Going to talk about it a little bit, and it will stay with John Carroll.
Inbounding it from the baseline is McManaman. She'll get it into Spahar. Spahar looking to drive to her left. Lays it up and in with the left hand.
Well, it's Sigmund on the bench. That's not really fair to ask Watchman to guard Spahar there, and she kind of just blows right by her.
Napolitano. Bounce pass to Risner. Risner knocks down the jumper.
And they really need her. If that's going to be the one that kind of steps up and is that 8th girl off the bench, that spot is really missing from this team. They have Fondesi, Pla to an extent as well, and Watchman. They could really use another body off the bench that could give them some quality minutes, and Risner's done that, gets on the scoreboard now.
And another foul called against Capital.
Should mention, I did believe I mentioned Fondesi in that group, but just to make sure I mentioned her as one of those key bench players for Cap.
Nina Napolitano hit with that last foul. So now Sigmund will check in, and Nina is running to the bench.
That's her 4th, so pretty much not going to see her until the last few minutes of this one.
Spahar misses the shot. Fondesi comes away with the rebound. She was trying to pitch it to a teammate, but everybody was running up the court already.
Yeah, Risner had no idea, and it's not Risner's fault or anything like that, just a miscommunication between Risner and Fondesi.
And now Fondesi will check out. Emily Moran will check in.
She looks gassed, and Dixie wanted to just talk to her a little bit after that, and I think just wants her to hold that ball down. Not really a yelling lecture, just kind of a friendly reminder.
Oh, no, she was just trying to calm Colleen down when she was coming to the bench, and now ball went out of bounds, and it'll once again be Capital basketball.
We've certainly seen Dixie get fired up in the face of some of her teammates, or excuse me, some of her players, but that was certainly not one of those instances.
Sigmund on the right wing. Shelby.
Yep.
And a foul is going to be called against Chelsea Pla.
I think she was way too aggressive with that screen. Dixie doesn't like the call, but I can definitely see that one. A little too much body. She kind of swung her shoulder, and if she just stays in her place, you're not going to get that foul called against you. But when you initiate the contact with the defender, it's pretty much going to be called every time, and I think she swung her shoulders a little bit too much there.
And Emily Moran will check out. Coming back in is Kristen Thompson. KT might have to carry the load here for a little bit for Capital.
Dixie's got to watch it because she's getting real close to a technical, I think, with how much she's yelling.
Spear. Now it's outside. Three-pointer swishes through for Nicole McManaman.
That was deep. deep three. Keeps John Carroll in the game, though. They needed that.
Risner to Thompson at the top of the arc. Now it's over to Sigmund on the right wing. Shelby dribbles to her left. Now it's over to Watchman. Watchman dribbles in, and now a hand check foul is going to be called against Karin Spear. So Watchman should now be heading to the free throw line.
Spear's second. And definitely upset with the call. And again, that frustration is there. McManaman, meanwhile, is kind of limping a little bit in the backcourt over here. Looks like she's going to stay in the game, but we'll keep an eye on that ankle.
Meanwhile, Watchman at the charity stripe. Free throw's good.
She's a very good free throw shooter, as you would expect your guards to be.
And we talked about this at the beginning of the season. Watchman just seems to be a much more confident player.
Yeah.
Quite the change from her freshman year, now a sophomore.
A lot more tenacity, in her game. She kind of played a little bit passive at times, I would say, last year, which isn't a knock on her. She was a freshman. I think the speed of the game has really caught up to her now. She's much more comfortable in this game, and obviously she's been playing almost 20 minutes already in this game, which is a very uptick in her minutes due to the foul situation and Gage's injury as well, and she's really stepped up today.
Capital 56, John Carroll 47. Spear, long three-pointer. That's no good, but John Carroll comes away with the offensive rebound.
Another second chance opportunity, Charlie.
You can kind of sense the Capitals getting tired defensively a little bit. Spear trying to bullet pass that time. Nearly a loose ball. Now another three-pointer. That's no good. Battle for the ball. And Risner comes away with it for Capital.
Tough rebound for Risner. Won it away from Thompson, really.
Under a minute to play here in the third quarter. Capital with a 9-point lead over John Carroll, 56-47. Watchman trying to drive on in, and Watchman scores.
Yeah, perfect 2-for-1 opportunity, and they score at just the right time. Up to an 11-point lead, their largest of the day once again.
43 seconds and counting here in the third quarter. Spear on the left wing, being closely guarded by Watchman. Now they go back outside to McManaman. McManaman now swinging it over to Speyhar on the right wing. 12 seconds on the shot clock, under 30 seconds to play. And now an offensive foul is going to be called against John Carroll.
And every time a whistle blows, John Carroll, you can kind of just see it on the looks of the players. They're just, frustration is mounting. McManaman was trying to calm everyone down. She was the only one that was really reacting in a positive way to that whistle.
Well, basically, Capital can hold for the last shot here. There's 0.1 or 0.1 of a second between the shot clock and the game clock. Sigmund for three. Shelby swishes it through.
Well, when you get that good of a look, you just take it. 14-point lead. They're blowing them out the building now.
Capital 61, John Carroll 47. And now a foul's called on the inside with 6.1 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
It's going to go on Risner. Not really worried about that. And now that this game is getting up to that 14-point margin, this could be a good time to rest your starters at the start of the next quarter. I think Dixie will probably go for the kill, but with the foul trouble situation, it might be a good time to get some of that depth in there. And I'd keep Risner out there and let her grow a little bit in this game.
Battaglia makes the first free throw.
Really like what I'm seeing on Risner right now, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to let her grow. Again, get her out there. It's a 10-point game in the fourth quarter. It's still kind of comfortable, but in that area where it's still important to play good basketball, and get her out there, get her confidence up a little bit.
Second free throw good for Battaglia. Watchman quickly up the court, driving towards the hoop, and a blocking foul is going to be called against John Carroll.
That was pretty close.
I was going to say, I thought she was going to be called for a charge there for a second. Instead, the foul is going to go against McManaman. And Watchman, hey, just like the end of the
second quarter,
she'll have a chance to put some free throws up here, this time with 0.4 of a second remaining. First free throw good for Annika.
Sigmund with that last three. She's up to 9 points. Watchman, if she knocks this down, will be at 9 as well.
Is good for Watchman.
16 for 26 from the free throw line in this game. Very good. 19 for 26 as I finally get it right. They've only missed 7 free throws, Charlie.
John Carroll inbounds the basketball, but they won't be able to get a shot off at the end of 3 quarters. It is Capital 63, John Carroll 49. We'll take a quick break here. This is the Crusaders women's basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
With 14 TVs to watch your favorite team or the next big event, Plank's Cafe and Pizzeria in German Village is ready for you and your group today. Plenty of free parking, free Wi-Fi, banquet rooms for private parties, and daily specials, what more reason do you need to visit Plank's Cafe and Pizzeria? Plank's is located at 743 Parsons Avenue and has been serving the Columbus community since 1939. Plank's is on the web at plankscafe.com or available by phone at 614-443-6251. Plank's Cafe and Pizzeria is a proud supporter of Crusader Athletics.
Welcome back to the Capitol Center. We begin action now in the fourth quarter, and Capitol is now opening it up a little bit. They lead John Carroll 63-49. An eventful third quarter for Capitol. They end up outscoring John Carroll 25-16 in that last quarter.
Gage back in there at the start of the quarter now.
So now Gage running the point for Capitol. Swings it over to Irwin, top of the arc. They try to feed it inside to Sigmund, but the pass is intercepted by John Carroll. Spahar back in there for the Blue Streak. She's now on the right wing. Now over to Shmoo Pryor. Pryor, top of the arc, being guarded by Nina Napolitano. Pryor going to her right, racing in, and it's like the Red Seas parted.
Not very good defense at all, obviously, when the wide open layup is the result.
Now it's a 63-51 game, and it goes out of bounds, and John Carroll once again gets the basketball back. Even though John Carroll is down by 12, this is just one of those games where you really feel like John Carroll is still in it.
A little bit of confusion there as that the sub came on because Watchman heard the horn sound, but the horn should not have gone off as the refs did not allow the substitution.
And now we got confusion all over River City.
I think they need to reset the clock a couple seconds, and that's what they're saying here. Shot clock is showing 19 seconds, and that can't be right.
So now John Carroll will inbound it from the far side. Spahar into Pryor here momentarily. And now we're still awaiting technical confirmation here.
Yeah, they put 10 seconds back on the clock, and now it's 29 on the shot clock. And that makes a lot more sense. Obviously, they're just inbounding the basketball. There's no way 10 seconds could have gone off the clock there.
Unless the players were playing very, very quickly. Spahar, step back jumper, no good, but the rebound is taken by Carney. Carney still trying to get possession of the ball, and it will go out of bounds and stay with John Carroll after Nina took a dive towards the hard court. Checking back in for Capitol now is Annika Watchman, taking the place of Jenna Irwin.
Watchman really getting leaned on right now by Dixie. She's played a lot of minutes in this game, and they're really asking a lot of her.
Gaining more and more trust from the Capitol coaching staff. Carney inside, misses the layup, but the offensive rebound is taken by Katie Battaglia as the offensive rebounds are continuing to pile up here for John Carroll. Jumper on the way. That's no good. This time, Nina Napolitano says, enough is enough. I'm getting a defensive rebound. Now it's over to Watchman. Watchman will go baseline. Drives on in and scores! Annika Watchman. The confidence is brimming for the sophomore from Upper Arlington.
Well, yeah, when your coach is just trying to get you in the game anytime she can, that's going to help, and she's feeding off of that right now.
Missed jumper, but the shot is up. No good, but John Carroll will get some free throws here upcoming as Battaglia was fouled on the play.
How about a walk? I guess they allowed her a few steps to gain her balance getting the rebound, but did a pirouette all the way around the baseline back to the basket without dribbling the basketball.
So 8:24 remaining in the fourth quarter. Jenna Irwin will now check in for Capitol, taking the place of Sigmund out there on the floor. Actually,
there was only 4 out there.
Oh, okay, got it.
Told Sigmund to slide down on their spot on the free throw line.
Meanwhile, at the free throw line is Battaglia. Battaglia misses the free throw.
Trying to figure out who came out. I think it was Fondesi. Was she in as the 4?
No, Nina.
Napolitano, that's correct.
Yeah. Second free throw is good. Capitol 65, John Carroll 52. Gage inside. Shelby finishes at the rim.
Sigmund with 11 and 5 today. 5 assists, that is.
She can play defense and she can play offense. Pryor, spin move in the lane. Wild shot, no good, and Simone comes away with the rebound. Now she's looking to run in the court. Bounce pass to Thompson. Thompson lays it up and in.
Smart by Thompson, too. She tried to get contact with Spahar there. They didn't get the foul, but they did get the bucket, and they're up by 17.
This will be a 30-second timeout for John Carroll. Let's keep it right here at the Cap Center. 7:57 remaining in the fourth quarter. It is Capital 69, John Carroll 52. Let's do some statistical recapping for you in this game. Capital shooting a blistering 57.1% from the field. Meanwhile, John Carroll's really fallen off here in the second half. 35.8% from the field for the Blue Streaks. In terms of three-pointers, John Carroll 2 of 9 from beyond the arc. Capital 2 of 6 from beyond the arc. Capital is 73% from the free throw line, 19 of 26 from the cherry stripe. John Carroll 66.7% from the free throw line, 12 of 18 from that part of the court. John Carroll with a 33-27 advantage on the boards against Capital. In terms of standout players today, Caitlin Spahar, no surprise, leading John Carroll in scoring with 17 points. She's also got 9 rebounds. But, boy, when you look at Capital side, Jimmy, you got 4 players in double figures in scoring. Thompson, 17 points to go along with 7 rebounds, 14 points for Jenna Irwin, 11 points for Shelby Sigmund. But the biggest surprise of the day, Annika Watchman, I believe this is her first time scoring in double figures for Capital. She's got 11 points.
Yeah, how about Watchman and Sigmund, a combined 22 points on 8 of 14 shooting.
Very efficient.
That's some good stuff from some 2 players you wouldn't really expect to get up in the score column.
Capital 69, John Carroll 52. 7:48 remaining in the fourth quarter. Pryor inside to Pittenger, and the turnaround jumper is good. So now it's 69-54. Capital with a big lead here. They're just looking to close out John Carroll. Out of bounds, and it will still be Capital basketball after it was poked away by Pryor. And now they're going to be stopping play here momentarily to put some more time back on the clock. The game clock is currently showing 7:29, but now it has been changed to 7:32.
Just checking on that Watchman for you. 7 points was her season high and career high before today, so setting that today with her 11 points, and still has some time to build on it as well. She's one of the 5 out there still.
And remember, only a sophomore. Watchman bounces it to Gage. Now it's over to Sigmund. Sigmund skips it on over to Watchman. Watchman will go baseline inside. Thompson off the glass, no good. And the rebound is tapped back out to Spear. Spear will now feed it ahead to Spahar. Spahar over to Cairns. Cairns will drive on in. Layup no good. And Irwin comes away with a rebound. Now they'll push it ahead to Watchman. Watchman got ran into by Spahar, and now this foul is going to be called against Spahar. Spahar may have 17 points, Jimmy, but it's been a frustrating afternoon for one of the leading scorers.
6 of 19, Charlie, from the field, and that's her 4th foul. Really no choice but to just leave her out there and hope for the best because you're down by 15 right now. If she kicks the bucket here with her 5th foul, that's pretty much going to be the end of this one.
Irwin flips it up and somehow finds the bottom of the net. When you're going good, I guess. Spahar, long jumper. That's no good.
6 at 20.
That was an air ball, as a matter of fact. Simone Gage comes away with the rebound. Simone bounces it over to Shelby. Sigmund thought about a jumper, but now she'll bounce on into Thompson. Thompson backs in, no good, but Watchman comes away with the offensive rebound. Long jumper all the way for Sigmund. Shelby's got it going on today.
Unbelievable. This is the best I've seen her shoot the basketball in 2 years here.
Out of bounds, it'll stay with John Carroll. Shelby Sigmund putting on a tremendous performance here today at the Capital Center. 13 points.
And she's been guarding Spahar. Spahar's 6 of 20. I mean, you got to give her credit defensively, too. She's doing a fantastic job on both sides of the court.
Thompson's had a great game with 17 points and 7 rebounds, but if I had to pick a player of the game for today, you got to go with Shelby Sigmund.
Yeah, she's done 13 points on 6 of 9 shooting while allowing Spahar 17 on 6 of 20 shooting. Spahar has 6 turnovers in this game, so you really have to give Sigmund credit for getting it done, again, on both sides of the ball.
Coming up at the end of this game, we'll have the Peking Dynasty post-game show for you. Take a look at the final stats. We'll have a chance to talk with Dixie Jeffers, perhaps a player of the game at the end of that one. And Capital just looking to go into the Christmas holiday with some much-needed momentum. A win here today would give Capital a 3-2 mark within OAC play, so that would push them back up into the upper echelon of the conference.
I believe we talked to Jenna Irwin as our last player of the game in the post-game press conference. It's been a long time, if I can remember correctly. And might get a chance to talk to Thompson, might get a chance to talk to Sigmund, kind of at the coach's discretion there. Sometimes we don't even get anybody. It's kind of a crapshoot, and we deal with what we get up here.
We're happy to talk with anybody. How about that?
I'd love to get some more interviews in and give you guys out there a chance to hear from the players themselves. I'm sure you get sick of listening to us the whole time.
6:24 remain in the fourth quarter. Capital with a 73-54 advantage over John Carroll. Boy, this game was nip and tuck for most of the time, but now it's a 19-point lead for Capital. Pryor over to McManaman, who nearly loses out of bounds, but she'll keep possession. Now it's back to Pryor. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Pryor will drive on in and misses the shot. Gage with the rebound, running in the court. Simone to Shelby. Sigmund gets the bucket to go, and a foul.
Unbelievable what we've seen from her today.
The senior from Bellbrook, Ohio, Shelby Sigmund. Free throw is good. So give her 16 points on the afternoon. What a game by Shelby Sigmund. Missed shot by Pryor. Fondesi comes away with the loose ball.
Remember, she was hurt and just coming back from injury the last time we broadcasted one of the women's games. And we talked about how big she is defensively, how important she is to the rotations of this team, and just doing it offensively now. Oh, here she goes again.
Sigmund with a floater in the lane.
Now, this is just the added bonus. If Sigmund's going to get you 18 points, you're going to see a blowout every time that happens.
Missed shot by Pittenger. She was just flailing about and hoping that somebody would foul her.
Not sure how that's shooting when she was trying to pass out of it, but we'll let it go.
So Pittenger will now head to the free throw line, a freshman from Norwalk, Ohio.
She jumped, but she was trying to pass the ball. Yeah, as I was saying, I mean, if Sigmund's going to get you 18, you're expecting maybe 3 or 4 or 5 points from her. You're not expecting her to get deep into double figures, and she gets a nice applause coming off the court. She deserves one. And, again, if she's going to give you 18, it's going to be a blowout every single time. And just amazing defense today. Couples it with great offense, and that's a great job from her.
Aaron Risner checks into the ballgame for Capital, and after the made free throw, it is going to be another substitute, Sarah Junker. Junker, a 5'9" freshman from Geneva, Ohio. So now she'll get some playing time here. How about this? A 22-point lead for Capital. Again, this game was just back and forth. 2-point lead, 4-point lead. But now Irwin raises a 3. That's no good, but Simone Gage comes away with the offensive rebound.
In the 15 minutes since halftime, they've scored 40 points, outscoring John Carroll 40-23 over that stretch.
Wow. And this just shows you how much offensive firepower Capital has, as another foul is going to be called against John Carroll. So Watchman will now inbound it from the near side. Into Gage. And now Capital at this point just looking to run some clock. Gage on the right wing, being guarded by Pryor. Inside, they were trying to force it into Junker, but the pass is intercepted by John Carroll. They'll go inside to Pittenger. Back outside to Spahar. Spahar dribbling in. Spahar will put up a shot, and she'll get the shooter's roll, gets it to go, and she'll now head to the free throw line.
And the stat sheet doesn't tell the whole story of the job Sigmund did on her today. 19 points for Spahar, which actually leads all scorers in this game. But, again, so inefficient, and they finally look like they teed up Dixie. I said she had to watch out a couple minutes ago, and they finally get her for being a little bit too aggressive.
Technical foul has been called. So here comes some technical free throws for John Carroll.
It actually looks like it was a technical call against John Carroll.
Oh, so this one will probably be going against Did you see Kelly Marone say anything?
I'm not sure. I just assumed it was against Dixie, but Watchman's coming to take the free throw, so maybe I should, recant my statement, and it had to be on someone from the bench, I would assume, from John Carroll, or maybe someone out in the court said something to one of the officials, and that's something that you never, if someone lets an F-bomb go or something out there, something we can't tell up here.
Second free throw good for Watchman. She also made the first free throw. Well, according to our stat gurus, it was a technical foul called on the John Carroll bench.
Okay.
So I would assume that Kelly Marone said something that did not necessarily agree with the referees.
We mentioned a couple sequences ago, I think it was back in the third quarter when Watchman came in, that Dixie was showing confidence in her and getting her back in the game. How about the free throws? She has Watchman take the technical free throws. Just another kind of subtle move there that is just showing her that, we believe in you. And Watchman has responded every single time to that positively, makes the free throw again. She's 7 for 8 from the free throw line today.
And another foul called against John Carroll, which means more free throws for Capital. Jenna Irwin headed to the free throw line now.
Cap is 22 of 29 from the free throw line, but Irwin and Watchman combined after that free throw by Irwin, they're 16 for 19, the two of those girls, from the free throw line themselves.
That is what I like to call very efficient from the charity stripe.
And that's what happens when you get your best shooters at the free throw line. We mentioned they're a 73% shooting team on the season, 75% today. But again, they have a couple players dragging them down, with Irwin and Watchman really carrying the load.
81-58. Capital with a big lead over John Carroll, and an offensive foul called against the Blue Streaks.
I mean, you have, from the free throw line, talking about that story, you got Thompson and Pla going 4 for 7. And other than that, the backcourt has been taking the free throws and really doing a nice job. As Irwin gets a nice hand, and her day is probably done.
Meredith Ovies will check in for Jenna.
Season high for Cap, meanwhile, is they have her at 81 points. Their season high entering today, Charlie, was 73. They're already 8 points over that and could very well get to 90.
Still a little over 4 minutes remaining, so that remains a definite possibility. Watchman to Gage, and Gage loses it, and now a foul's called against Watchman.
If they get 7 points, it'll be a 50-point half also, and I don't even know the last time that's happened in Capitals history. And that's what the move to quarters was intended to do, give you some more offense, some more up-tempo, and it's worked today.
I would say mission accomplished.
Yeah, some entertaining basketball. I can't believe they've scored 81 points.
Pryor loses it. It's off of her foot, and it will be Capital basketball once again. Well, in the meantime, Jimmy, we get to see Sarah Junker. As we mentioned, a 5'9" freshman from Geneva, Ohio. Meredith Ovies getting some playing time as well, and now play is going to be halted.
You got Risner out there as well, and I really liked what I've seen from her today. She has 2 points and 3 rebounds, but has really kind of like Watchman, really starting to find her groove, and she's only a freshman, I believe, Risner. And that's, again, another body off the bench that could become very valuable. Freshman from Canfield, Ohio.
Ovies over to Gage on the left wing. 15 on the shot clock. Simone calls for a screen. Now she'll pass it back out to Watchman. Annika back out to Simone. Simone on the left wing drives in. Simone up off the glass and in.
Everything is falling. Save some of this for the holiday tournament because everything is dropping right now.
So Gage will head to the free throw line.
Wow. That was really impressive drive by Gage, and I think after she's got that one down, you can pretty much let her get out of here now.
Shelby Graham, meanwhile, checks into the ball game for John Carroll. This has been a second half to remember for Capital, a second half to forget for John Carroll.
Talk about John Carroll having to just kind of rebound and pick up the pieces. They are now, after this game, going to be 1-4 in conference play and really kind of starting from scratch almost.
Now, foul called on the inside. I think they're going to get Risner for a hand check foul on this one as Graham was driving towards the hoop.
They're going to be 1-4, and you've got ahead of them, at least there's going to be 6 teams that have just 2 losses or less. So they're already chasing 2 in the loss column at least. And you talk about some of the teams at the top, you've got 3 teams with 1 loss or less right now. So they have dug themselves a nice little hole here early in conference play.
First free throw is good for Graham. Second free throw on the way. And that is good as she gets the friendly roll. Oh. And it's intercepted and score for Maddie Steiner that time. as she was able to pick off the inbounds pass from Sarah Junker. Wow.
Still just need to calm down, though. Still up by 21 here. But, yeah, that was a pretty bad mistake, and you learn from it.
Junker, of course, a freshman, so.
Oh, throwing it away again.
And Steiner comes away with another steal. She'll race ahead. And off the glass, no good! And she did not get the roll, and a jump ball is going to be called.
Good recovery from Risner there. Bad pass at the start of the sequence, though.
Yes, yep. I'll tell you what, though. Risner has been impressive, as you mentioned, Jimmy. Seems like that steady Eddie type of player. Plays good defense. Will get you a key rebound or two. Not bad for a freshman.
Kind of going back to that point about John Carroll has scoop layup there.
By Pryor.
That looked like Shmoo Pryor. And they call it travel. Oh, man.
On Watchman. Ugh.
Having some serious trouble getting the ball in, and that's a timeout. And this might be one of those get in the faces of the players. Dixie is not happy.
We'll take a timeout. 2:47 to play here in the fourth quarter. Capital 83, John Carroll 64. This is your home for Crusaders women's basketball, the Capital Sports Network.
Dill's Greenhouse is a local family business dedicated to offering the best shopping experience and honest prices for your gardening needs. If you're in need of annuals, perennials, vegetable plants, or any variety of gardening tools and resources, Dill's Greenhouse is more than happy to get you on the right path. Dill's Greenhouse is located at 5800 Rager Road in Groveport, Ohio, and is open 7 days a week. Visit them online for more information at dillsgreenhouse.net. Dill's Greenhouse. Only nature does it better.
When looking for great food at low price, be sure to visit Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan, right near the Capital University campus. Peking Dynasty has a large selection of Chinese food and sushi, along with great-tasting chicken and beef selections that can please any appetite. In addition, Capital University students receive discounts with a valid ID any day of the week. That's Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan, right near the Capital campus, where we are proud to say, Go Cap!
Back here at the Capital Center, 2:47 remaining in the fourth quarter. Capital with a big lead, 83-64 over John Carroll. Battle for the loose ball along the baseline. And now is a foul called, I believe, against Risner.
The point I was trying to get to before that break there is John Carroll team, it's back-to-back appearances in the NCAA tournament. Obviously, this year is not going as planned for them, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they respond early. That's a team to really watch, especially if they're going to creep into the tournament as a 7 or 8 seed, if they could really get things going together and really feed off of Spahar a little bit more than they even are. They could be a really tough out as a 7 or an 8 seed in that OAC tournament, Charlie.
Timeout's been taken on the floor. We'll keep it right here at the Cap Center. 2:39 remain in the fourth quarter. It is Capital 83 and John Carroll 64. Capital has got their annual Christmas tournament coming up. We do know that next Tuesday they will be taking on Misericordia, a small Division III school out of the state of Pennsylvania. That game is scheduled for a 7 p.m. tip. And then, let's see here. The game in the loser's bracket will be played at 3 p.m. The game in the winner's bracket, or I should say the championship game, will be played at 5 p.m. on next Wednesday, December 30th. The day before New Year's Eve.
The eve of New Year's Eve.
Well, there you go.
New Year's Eve.
Shelby Graham misses the first free throw.
The other two teams here will be Allegheny from Pennsylvania as well, and Calvin out of Michigan. And those two teams will play on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and again, the winners, like you said, will meet at 5, the losers at 3.
Allegheny out of Pennsylvania, Calvin out of Michigan. Yep.
Allegheny, NCAC school with a bunch of other Ohio schools.
North Coast Athletic Conference. Tend to find schools like Wittenberg and Denison. And
Ohio Wesleyan.
Yep, all those squads. 83-64 in favor of Capital. Three-pointer on the way, and it is good for Karen Spear.
She's got a really good-looking shot. She knocked a few down from outside.
And she's only a freshman.
Yeah.
John Carroll might have their next star in their backcourt. She might be playing right before our eyes. Meredith Ovies drives in. Floater in the lane is no good. Colleen with a turnaround jumper. That's no good as well. And the rebound is taken by John Carroll. Karen Spear. She's been leading the point for much of this game. Not bad for a freshman. And a traveling violation is going to be called against John Carroll. That was pretty obvious against Matty Steiner.
Spahar fouled out right now for John Carroll, so even though they are down by 14 and 2 minutes left, they really don't have that offensive firepower they're going to need. But Spear providing a nice little spark to make this one a little bit closer than it was a little bit ago.
Graham and Carney check back into the ball game for John Carroll.
Capital led by 25, Charlie, just over a minute and a half ago.
Inside, Colleen with an easy layup. 9 points for Colleen Fondesi to go along with 5 rebounds.
Wow. Very quiet 9 and 5 day from her as well. Everyone is contributing. Leads back up to 18.
Missed shot by Graham, but the offensive rebound taken by John Carroll. Now a three-pointer on the way for Poplawski, and Poplawski misses it. And holy cow, that was a big-time collision there as Spear came out of nowhere.
She had one of those rebounds on the other end of the court earlier on an offensive rebound, and she's 5'3", but she can really get up there. I think the person that got the worst of that collision was her teammate, Shelby Graham.
Now checking out of the game is Chelsea Plough. Checking in, Jacqueline Yankel, 5'9" freshman from Youngstown, Ohio.
Moran also checking back in for Sigmund.
Fondesi will get it in to Watchman. Watchman dribbling it up the court. John Carroll tries a little full court press, and now a foul is going to be called on the inside. No, actually on the outside, I should say, against Maddie Steiner.
Good job by Watchman to not turn that ball over. Just use the court that was available to her.
So now Watchman will head to the free throw line. Annika Watchman, 13 points. Go along with an assist and 2 rebounds. First free throw on the way. No good for Annika. Now a couple substitutions for John Carroll. Coming in will be Bree Pittenger and Katie Battaglia.
Going back to that holiday tournament, Charlie, Calvin is going to be the team to really watch in that one. In terms of their potential opponent in that second game, Calvin, a nationally ranked team right now.
Watchman knocks through the free throw. So what you're telling me is Capital has a chance to up their resume a little bit.
Yeah, last year we saw them invite Hope in, I believe also out of Michigan.
Yep.
And that's a top 5 program as well right now. And Calvin finds themselves ranked 12th. They just played Thomas More actually and lost. And Thomas More is currently the #1 team in Division III. So whatever it is going to be, it's going to be a very competitive, very hard-fought game. And if Calvin does get by Allegheny, which they should, it's going to set up a really nice game here on December 30th.
And being called for a traveling violation is Emily Ondo, 5'9" freshman from the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A young lady that we really haven't seen all that much. Also in there, well, we already knew that Jacqueline Yankel was in there.
I heard about Ondo in one of the Periscope chats with Dixie very early in the season when Ryan, our sports information director, sat down with him, or sat down with her, I should say. And Ondo was one of the freshmen that Dixie was a little bit excited about. Haven't seen a lot of her on the floor, though.
Melissa Veerman has checked into the ballgame for Capital, by the way. Meredith Ovies, meanwhile, being double-teamed, and now we'll throw it on over to Emily Moran. Moran across half court, bounces it now over to Ovies. 53 seconds and counting. Capital looking to put the finishing touches on what should be a big win over John Carroll. And now a foul is going to be called against the Blue Streaks. Ondo will be headed to the free throw line. Ondo attending Shaler Area High School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. First free throw is good. Ondo will now shoot her second free throw. And that is no good, but Moran comes away with the offensive rebound. Capital will look to run some more clock. Ovies with a jumper, and Meredith knocks it through. Capital 89, John Carroll 67. Three-pointer on the way. That's no good, and the rebound's taken by Melissa Veerman.
One chance for 90 here.
Ondo to Ovies. Ovies inside, and the layup is converted by Jacqueline Yankel.
There it is. 91 points, and they've scored 52 this half, excuse me.
Pryor over to McManaman. 18 seconds and counting. They'll let a Quick three-pointer fly, and it is good for Poplawski. Now they'll get it into Ovies. Over to Jacqueline Yankel across half court. She'll dribble it on over to Ando. Over to Yankel. 7 seconds on the clock, and they will just be content to run the clock out. What a win for Capital. It was a close ball game at first, but at the end, Capital ends up blowing out John Carroll by a final of 91-70. Coming up, we will have the Peking Dynasty postgame show for you. We'll wrap things up from the Capital Center, take a look at the stats, even have time to chat with Capital head coach Dixie Jeffers. Again, your final score, Capital 91, John Carroll 70. This has been a presentation of Capital Women's Basketball here on the Capital Sports Network.
When looking for great food at low price, be sure to visit Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan right near the Capital University campus. Peking Dynasty has a large selection of Chinese food and sushi, along with great-tasting chicken and beef selections that can please any appetite. In addition, Capital University students receive discounts with a valid ID any day of the week. That's Peking Dynasty on the corner of Livingston and Sheridan right near the Capital campus, where we are proud to say, Go Cap!
This is a message for the nurses among us, for those who dream of saving lives, for those who are driven to improve care, and for those ready to help heal what's broken, be it a single bone fracture or an entire hospital system. Capital University's advanced nursing programs are built for you. Engaged faculty, immersive learning, and intimate classes where you'll know everyone's name. To learn more, visit capital.edu/nursing. Advanced nursing at Capital University, for those driven to do more.
It's the perfect sports bar because it's not just a sports bar.
I'm Gary Calico, founder and president of Rusty Bucket. A lot of families build their sports world around the bucket.
It's not just a guy's night out. You can bring your wife, you can bring your kids.
We get a lot of groups in after games.
Great place after the game.
Kids love to come here.
The Rusty Bucket Restaurant and Tavern.
The Rusty Bucket is a proud supporter of the Capital Crusaders. Visit us after the game at 2158 East Main Street and grab life by the bucket.
Welcome back to the Capital Center. This is the Peking Dynasty postgame show. A happy final to report from Bexley today as Capital defeats John Carroll by a final of 91-70. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. Well, Jimmy, a game that was very close, a back-and-forth affair between the Blue Streaks and the Crusaders. But in the second half, Capital just kept shooting the ball at a very high percentage. John Carroll cooled off big time, and all sorts of contributors offensively for Capital today.
And 91 points, and they made just 2 threes in the game also. I just noticed that. The 91 points, first time they've scored 90 since January of 2008. It's been that long. Just an amazing game for them today offensively. Ended up shooting 58% from the field. And just scorers all over the place. Thompson 17, Irwin 17, Watchman 14, 9 from Fondesi, a couple other players with 2 or 3 points. But the real big story, Shelby Sigmund erupting in the second half. 18 points for her. An amazing job. I believe almost all of her points. I think 16 of the 18 were in the second half for her.
She definitely showed up big time for Capital this afternoon. Let's take a closer look at the stats now. Let's start with John Carroll. Caitlin Spahar led the Blue Streaks in scoring with 19 points to go along with 9 rebounds. 10 points for Bree Pittenger. 2 points for Shelby Graham. 8 points for Maddie Steiner. 5 points for Nicole McManaman. 3 points for Kelsey Poplowski. 3 points for Sarah Carney. 8 points for Karin Spear, 3 points for Katie Battaglia, and 9 points for Shmoo Pryor. As a team, John Carroll shot 35% from the field. They shot 26.7% from three-point range, and they shot 64% from the free throw line. We'll get to Capital stats in just a moment. Joining us momentarily will be Capital's head coach, Dixie Jeffers. Our post-game coach interview brought to you by Jimmy John's. You can always count on freaky fast delivery and world-class catering by Jimmy John's. Well, Coach, 91-70 victory over John Carroll today. It seemed like everybody was contributing on offense. Has this been the most efficient job on offense you've seen so far this year?
I think from the total bench, yes. We haven't been home very much, and it's always nice to come home. And it was fun because we've only been here our second time out of 10 games. So our kids were loose, they're well prepared, and they stayed focused for 40.
Shelby Sigmund goes out there, scores 18 points for you. She's known more for her defense, for making those hustle plays that your team needs to make in order to win ball games. But today, she was an offensive force.
Well, we're talking to our kids. We're getting good looks in our offense, and our kids just cannot hesitate. Any coach will tell you if you're going to stop and hesitate, you're probably going to make a turnover or you're going to miss a shot. So we just want to play it free, and if the shot's there, take it.
Kristen Thompson had 17 points. Jenna Irwin had 17 points. Okay, I expect them to have high point totals offensively, but Annika Watchman, 14 points. A total change from her freshman year. She just seems a lot more confident out there.
She has worked extremely hard in the offseason, and her speed, her quickness, and she's learning a whole different position. So to be fair with her, she never had to play point guard. She was never required to shoot with the team that she played on at Upper Arlington because she was the defensive person. She was the road runner type. And then we're asking her to do a lot of different things, and she's just stepping up big. I'm happy for all our kids. It's a great way to start break. It's a great win for us. John Carroll is a very, very formidable opponent. And, at some point this year, they're really going to turn the corner, and I hope it's not when we play them the second time.
One last question, Coach. You got the Christmas tournament coming around here after the break. A very interesting field coming here to Capital.
It is. We got Misericordia, we got Allegheny, so we've got 3 different conferences coming in, and we've played like that all year across the region, across the board. And with Calvin coming in, it's going to be a fun tournament. It's going to be a great tournament to get us ready to go back into our league.
All right, Coach. Well, have a very Merry Christmas and
Merry
congratulations.
Christmas, Charlie. Thank you very much.
Dixie Jeffers join us here on the Peking Dynasty postgame show. Capital victorious over John Carroll today by a final of 91-70. One of the more complete performances this afternoon for Capital. We already talked about the statistics for John Carroll. Now for Capital. As we mentioned, Shelby Sigmund had a great offensive showing here today for the Crusaders. She had 18 points, led Capital in scoring. 17 points each for Kristen Thompson and Jenna Irwin. 14 points for Annika Watchman. 9 points for Colleen Fondesi. 4 points for Nina Napolitano. 2 points for Jacqueline Yankel. 1 point for Emily Ondo. 2 points for Simone Gage. 2 points for Meredith Ovies. 3 points for Chelsea Pla. And 2 points for Aaron Risner. As a team, Capital shot 58% from the field. 58% from the field. That's great. 28.6% from beyond the arc, only 2 of 7 from downtown for Capital. 69.4% from the free throw line, 25 of 36 from the charity stripe. John Carroll out-rebounds Capital 41-39. 24 turnovers for John Carroll, 23 turnovers for Capital. Well, Jimmy, what do you ultimately take away from this game?
Just, again, that offensive production from Sigmund and from Watchman. We haven't really seen that all season, and this team, they can still play better. That's crazy to say, but like she said, it was really a bench effort today. The foul trouble situation was crazy in that first half. It really calmed down towards the middle of that game, but by that point, John Carroll was frustrated, and it shows you how well coached that Capital was, that the players weren't getting frustrated. They were just playing their brand of basketball, and there's just more room for improvement still, and they just beat John Carroll, very good team, and dropped 90 on them. And I think that matchup, if it is with Calvin a week from today, we don't want to overlook any opponents, obviously, on either side. Calvin has a game against Allegheny before as well that they would have to win. But if that is the matchup Wednesday evening, that is going to be a really good game. It'll be a really good test for Capital. Like Dixie said, it'll get them right back into that league play, playing a really tough opponent. And I think, much like the men's team, they're playing well right now, but they could play even better. And it's not trying to condemn the team at all. It's just kind of a positive look that this team still has more room to grow, and the ceiling is really higher than it is right now, and we should see them back in the top 25 soon again.
Let's name today's player of the game, brought to you by Donato's Pizza. I think you have to give it to Shelby Sigmund, Jimmy, because of what she did offensively and also defensively.
Not even a question with how great she played defensively. Spahar had a really big game statistically, but you look, she shot 7 for 21 from the field, shooting 33%. She took the bulk of John Carroll's shots and really couldn't get anything going, and the game of her life for Sigmund. We've seen her explode a couple of times. She had a 20-point game last year in league play as well. And if she can really get a consistent effort offensively like that, this team could really go places, Charlie.
So our next broadcast will be next Tuesday. That will be during the Christmas tournament here at Capital. And the Crusaders will be taking on Misericordia in that game. That game is scheduled for a tip-off of 7 p.m. If they win that game, they'll play in the championship game at 5 p.m. next Wednesday. If they lose that game, they'll play at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. Well, Jimmy, hey, thanks so much for helping me out. Have a very merry
Sigmund is going to be
time. The final score today here from the Capital Center, it is Capital 91, John Carroll 70. This has been a presentation of Capital Women's Basketball here on the Capital Sports Network. Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone. We'll see you next Tuesday when Capital takes on Misericordia as part of the 2015 Capital Christmas Tournament.